We start warming session. Official warming up starting.
Druga.
Gel. Şimdi. Hadi daha konsantre, daha konsantre. Hadi. Evet gel Hasan. Dön, dön. Şimdi. Aferin. Evet Celal. Sür Celal, dön. Şimdi. Güzel. Evet gel Emre. Vurun. Orada şimdi. Bu işte oğlum bu. Aferin. Evet, Ercan, dur. Dur oğlum. Şimdi. Aferin. Evet İbrahim. Dur koçum. Dur. Şimdi. Bravo İbrahim. Recep dur. Dur Recep. Şimdi. Aferin Recep. Önünde Emrah top.
Sol ayağında top var bana.
Evet Emrah. Aşağı. Şimdi. Bravo. Evet Kahraman. Kahraman. Şimdi. Bravo. Evet Celal. Dur Celal. Dur koçum şimdi. Aferin. Sol Hasan sol. Sol. Bastın. Şimdi. Aferin. Evet Ercan. Dur koçum in dikine. Dikine. Dön. Şimdi. Aferin oğlum. Evet Emre. Dön. Şimdi. Evet Recep dur. Dur Recep. Dur koçum. Dur. Şimdi. Aferin Recep. Evet İbrahim dur. Dur koçum dur. Şimdi. Dur kahraman. Dur. Şimdi. Evet Ercan sür. Sağ. Evet. Şimdi. Evet İbrahim. Sür. Sür. Evet şimdi. Evet sür. Sür Recep.
10 minutes warm up left.
Sür şimdi. Aferin.
Al ver bak al. Lan oğlum top atıyorsun nereye gidiyor? Beni bırak Celal sen şimdi.
Evet Süleyman. Sür. Şimdi. Bravo.
Hemen gelin gençler.
Açıktan yedi.
Oy.
Koy.
Oy.
Gel Recep. Gel.
Sür.
Bariyerin uzuna gelme.
Şimdi. Aferin.
Bravo.
Gel.
Asar.
Boy.
Celal. Çık.
Bugün kaleciyle beraber.
İn oradan. Sür. Kaldır.
Döndür.
Celal'i öyle sokuyor. Söyle sadece Celal olsun. Kahraman çık. Kontrol. Şimdi.
Kahraman abi boy. Boy Kahraman abi. Boy.
Evet Ercan.
Tamam dikkat et abi o zaman.
Burun vurmayacağım. Burun vurmayacağım abi. Şimdi. Aferin.
Bravo Ercan abi.
Bravo Ercan abi. Dayı hadi gol at da görek. Evet. Tamam.
Şimdi.
Bravo Emre.
Bravo kale.
Bravo Doruk. Direkt evinden al derim. Hadi Recep. Sakala çal.
Çık. Şimdi.
Recep neler yapıyorlar? Hadi dayı.
İbrahim dışarı.
Welcome back to the coverage of the IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017 here in Berlin. Second game of day 4. It's Turkey versus Georgia. My name's Alan Martin, alongside me Peter Selby, one of our commentators for the tournament, and Turkey against Georgia. Pete, should only be one result in this. A lot of questions on whether they score double figures or not, certainly from yourself. And you have to say, Turkey just got to get back on the horse and ride again here, because a defeat yesterday wasn't on the cards. Beaten by the team that they themselves beat in Hereford 2 years ago to win this title. Beaten 2-1 by Russia. What did Turkey do now?
They regroup and play their own game. They are far too good, really, for Georgia. Georgia have got all sorts of problems in terms of only having 5 players, but even if they're at full strength, then Turkey would still be the overwhelming favourites to not just beat Georgia, but beat them convincingly. It will be interesting to see whether Turkey get that defeat out of their system, and I think they will do. And I think Georgia will be at the hands of a bit of a mauling here.
I once heard a Manchester City fan tell me that they were too good to lose to Wigan in an FA Cup final, so not always done and dusted. Let's take a look at the results so far. Belgium getting beaten 7-0 by Turkey, and then a defeat yesterday which not too many predicted. Spain and Belgium have beaten Georgia 8-0 and 5-0. As you were talking a couple of moments ago, Pete, they're down to just 5 available players here, one returning from suspension, having been sent off in the first game. It's another tough day for this Georgian team.
Oh yes, Basalasvili is back from suspension. He was by far their best player against Spain. They did hold Spain and Turkey, and the bottom there for Georgia. Turkey beating Belgium 7-0, and then Belgium going and beating Georgia by 5 goals to 0. That really tells the story between these two sides. Yeah, Turkey, they've absolutely full strength. They've got Hassam Satay in their starting lineup, Aydeniz as well as their captain Uzun. They've got plenty of goals throughout their team, but Georgia, they've only got the 5 players. So again, ill discipline was a problem for them in their first 2 games. If there's any problems along those lines today, then they're going to be really up against it. And I wouldn't be surprised, again, if they go down to only the 4 players on the field. And if they do, then it's going to be more tough work against this Turkish side, who they've just got goals throughout their side.
Satay alone has had 14 shots in this competition already. As a team, they've registered 42 attempts on target. If Georgia thought they would already had 2 hard days, another one very much to come here in the sunshine in Berlin. Once again, the site of an old railway station here in Berlin. The entranceway still standing firm. You can see that behind us, and we're expecting a locomotive-style performance from Turkey here, aren't we? They should go straight out and straight at them.
Yeah, it's the 3rd game in 3 days for both of these sides, but because Georgia have only got the 5 players, it's going to take more of an effect on them. Turkey have managed to rotate in those 3 games. They've even changed their goalkeeper today. I don't think he's going to be caught into a lot of action throughout this game we're going to witness in the next 10-15 minutes or so. But one thing that I do think Turkey will look to get, and that's a big scoreline. Because of that draw earlier today between Spain and Russia, it could come down to goal difference to decide who goes through into the semi-finals. Only the top 2, and there's 3 teams in this Group B: Spain, also Russia and Turkey. By far the best teams, but only 2 can go through. So they'll be looking to win today, but they'll be looking to win handsomely.
Yeah, we'll take a look back at some of the action from these 2 teams before. Just while we're watching that, Turkey will still be smarting in what they thought was a late penalty claim in that game yesterday as well.
Yeah, it was a real physical game against Russia. You mentioned earlier it was the rematch of the 2015 final. Russia winning by 2-1, but Russia were up to 5 team fouls, any more that would have been a penalty kick from the 8-metre mark. And then right at the end, Turkey got their first, and then there was a couple of cries of fouls in the midfield area. In the last few seconds, they were waved away by the officials, and the Turkish bench and their manager and also their coaches, they were not happy as well indeed with those decisions. They would have had a chance to equalise, and well, that draw would have really set up this group. And with Spain drawing earlier on today with the Russian team, very strong Russian team, it means that Turkey can't afford to slip up today, and I don't think they will.
And Okal, one to watch out for as well for Turkey. You know, we talked a little bit about Satay. Okal has already registered 11 shots in the tournament too.
Yes, the reason I think Turkey will not slip up today is because of their tactic of leaving 1 or 2 players on the edge of the D, on the edge of the goalkeeping square, and then a long throw by their goalkeeper straight downfield. They can control the ball, turn and shoot in an instant. Now, if you're playing against a so-called lesser team as in Georgia, maybe they're down to only 3 outfield players, possibly later on in the game, then that tactic could really work wonders. Against a team like Georgia. And it's going to put them under all sorts of problems. And yeah, I do fear for them, because their shoulders have dropped when they have conceded the first couple of goals. And if Turkey do score early on, then I do fear for the confidence of the Georgian side.
Yeah, normally fairly strong at the back, this Turkish team, and conceding 2 goals here against Russia, a team that actually aren't one of the prolific shots on target teams. I think so far in their 2 games, the Russian team have actually only managed 22 shots, 11 in each game. So to have conceded 2 from that, Turkey will have been very, very displeased. But a good performance from Russia yesterday, and they've certainly stamped their mark on this competition.
Yeah, Russia performed very well against Turkey, and they were very solid today against a good Spanish team as well. They're a very physical team, the Russians, and they do concede many fouls. You can see here as Turkey employ the same tactics that we'll see probably later on today against Georgia, throwing the ball downfield and then scoring with them minutes ago. You can see that Russia have got those 5 fouls already, and then there was a few decisions that didn't go Turkish way. After that goal, it was only a minute to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get the same today, where a team has 5 team fouls against them and maybe some penalty kicks. And if I had to say which team, I think it might be Georgia, because it's happened twice in their 2 games.
Right, so putting you on the spot here, the other day you said you fancied Turkey to win the competition outright. They've already got a defeat to their name. Doesn't automatically wipe you out, of course, with it being the group stages. Do you still feel, after watching, most teams have played 2 games, this is their 3rd, do you still feel they are the team to beat in this competition?
I said that the winner will come out of Group B. I'm still confident that Turkey will go through, and if they do, they've got the experience. They're the defending champions. They know they can beat the Russian side, who have beat them earlier on in this competition. So I still think Turkey are the favourites, and I expect them to reach double figures today.
Okay, well, this won't take us long, but let's look at the team lineup for Georgia. And that's why it won't take long. You can read the starting lineup out and stop there. It's a very unique situation here. We're going to start a game where any injuries or any ill discipline will put them immediately down.
Yes, we've seen injuries for other teams so far in this tournament, and do remember Georgia, this is their 3rd game in 3 days, so the players are going to be tired because they've had to play the full 40 minutes, and because the clock is now stopped after every single incident, the game doesn't last 40 minutes, it can last way over an hour. But they do have the returning number 6, Georgi Bashlasvili. He was by far the star man for Georgia in their first game against Spain, until he got sent off, that is.
Okay, so Irakli in goal for Georgia. Probably the only man busier than our editor in the van. Right, Turkey, their starting lineup, and there is the man at number 11, Sate, helped by Okal, and they've just got plenty of talent to be able to choose from, haven't they?
Yes, even if they play the team that's their substitutes, basically. Their star goalkeeper is on the bench. Ardenis has played many minutes so far on the bench. Aslan's looked very impressive. He's on the bench. Bayraktar started. He's on the bench. And Cecil Koban is our usual starter, and he's on the bench. So it just shows you the starting lineup for Turkey is still very solid, with Hasan Satay, their star man, who scored a hat-trick already. Okel Uzum, they've got quality throughout the side, and they've got 5 substitutes who could be first-teamers. Very solid team. They are by far the favourites in this game, and I think we're going to reach double figures. And, well, Georgia, hopefully they can do what they've done against Spain, and that's just hold Turkey for 10 to 15 minutes. And do look out for number 6, Georgi Bashlasvili. He's all action in the midfield, and he's going to need to be in this game.
So they're resting a few players, it would seem, from the start. Minds perhaps on the next few games, which are perhaps that little bit harder in their minds as it would be. But they've got to go out here. They've got to go quick. These are the Warriors of Georgia on your screens. Pete is off back to take a seat next to our other commentator. We'll introduce those in a couple of minutes. It is going to be another battle. It is going to be another brutal day for this Georgian team. They're out of substitutes. They're 1 defeat here to surely being out of the competition. Our referees are ready. You can see John Ball, the coach of Turkey, in the background, just shaking hands with a few of his players and coaching staff. And here come the teams for game 2 on day 4, as we hand over to the commentary team of Jonathan Bell and Peter Selby.
Thank you very much, Alan. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Berlin IBSA Blind Football European Championships 2017. And for the 3rd time this weekend, we welcome out the reigning European champions Turkey in the change strip today of white shirts, white shorts and white socks as well, led out by goalkeeper Doruk Erkman in the luminous orange strip of orange shirt, orange shorts and orange socks. Georgia, they're in their home strip on the screen now as well. Irakli Mandaria leads them out. He has conceded 13 goals so far in Georgia's first 2 games. The Georgians in their red shirts with white sleeves, red shorts and red socks as well. Both teams lining up either side of the halfway line as they await their nation's national anthem. The first anthem we will hear will be that of Georgia, just the 5 players representing them, not just in the first team, but in the squad as well. Well, I mentioned how good the Georgian singing was yesterday during the national anthem. They've brought their voices back today as well. Up next, Turkey. Competition, Georgi Beshelishvili returns for them, the small number 6. Out suspended is their number 11, Alexander Shakarashvili, after he got 2 yellow cards in the defeat to Belgium last night. A remarkable game of football, it has to be said. We'll move on to that game in a few moments' time, but for now, Pete, we have a gander at the Turkish lineup. A lot of changes being made from them, but they could name 2 five-a-side teams that would be equally as strong as each other.
Yeah, looking at their bench, Cecil Koban, Bayraktar, Aslan, Adenis, and their usual goalkeeper all on the bench. And they've got Hasan Satay with 3 goals to his name already. He's in the starting lineup against this Georgian side, who only have 5 players. They have the returning Georgi Beshelishvili, who was suspended after 2 yellow cards in the first game, an 8-0 defeat against Spain, and they followed up by a 5-0 defeat to Belgium. Now they lose 5-0 to Belgium. Turkey beat Belgium by 7 goals to 0. That just shows you, in very loose layman terms, the difference between the 2 sides. Now, I mentioned to Alan March in the preview before the game that I think we will get the first score of double figures or more. So the 2 teams just shaking hands in the middle of the field. Then the captains will come forward and we'll be able to listen in to the referee and coin toss. See there, the 2 referees just shaking hands with the Turkish team, and now the 2 captains come forward. So let's hear the coin toss.
Georgia can choose black or yellow. Black, Turkey, yellow. So it's yellow. You have the choice, we change, and you have the ball. Okay? Okay, good luck.
So they're going to swap sides. Turkey have won the coin toss. So Turkey in their white shirts will be shooting from left to right against the all red with white sleeves of Georgia, who will kick off. The Turkish team just go into a huddle, and the 2 referees will then go over and shake hands with the 2 coaches, which is a really good part of blind football, where the referees and the coaches go and shake hands with the officials, just signalling to the referee. I'm not sure what the Turkish team are doing, but they're in a huddle there, and like I said, I think this will be the first double-figure score, and the one thing I just hope for Georgia is that they do keep their composure. They've managed to, for the first 10 to 15 minutes of their games against Spain and Belgium, holding both of those sides to 0-0. Belgium, in the case, until the second half, Spain until 15 minutes, and then it all kind of unravelled for the Georgian team. Ill-discipline was a figure of their performances. 5 team fouls quickly, and then penalty kicks being conceded, players being sent off. They've only got the 5 here, so if anyone's dismissed, they'll be down to 4.
And of course, if you did miss the game last night between Georgia and Belgium, it was a 5-0 win for the Belgians, as we've already mentioned, but Georgia finished the game with just 3 players, and there was a possibility the game was going to be called off when number 17, Georgi Beshelishvili, got a very heavy nosebleed. He had to have his nose covered severely in tissue and cotton wool in order for him to be able to continue. Georgia 2 men down, but eventually managing to pull out of that game with a respectable 5-0 defeat, as respectable as a 5-0 defeat can be. This time around, they'll be trying their best to try and get their first goal of the tournament on the board, you would suspect. Turkey with a far more offensive lineup compared to their lineup yesterday against Russia, where we had players like Emre Okul, Hasan Satay. They were only put on the field 1 at a time. it was much more of a defensive performance for Turkey. It backfired with the 2-1 towards the far side. Eventually the ball is cleared away all the way out for a Georgian ball. Irakli Mandaria will be taking this, and he throws it over halfway to the right-hand side. Next to the kickboard is Basilashvili, turns and faces the goal before trying to switch the ball with a low pass towards the left-hand side, aiming for his captain Margalashvili, but the ball is won by his opposite number, Okul, who tries to get up towards halfway. Margalashvili not giving this one up at all, however, and Turkey have 3 men back behind the ball. And with their goalkeeper Erkman, they're able to clear it to the one-man forward at the moment, and that is this man Satay. Basilashvili getting back to get a half-decent foot in there, but it's Satay still keeping possession, plays it to the right, and Okul. Satay's made a run into the penalty area. Okul has it out wide, being forced against the kick ball by Basilashvili. Everyone back for Georgia as they force the ball over halfway and sit deep, waiting for the next attack to come. Kerpatoglu just left of centre, moving the ball forward slowly. Basilashvili coming towards him and winning the ball as well, but the referee says illegally it may have been a hand to the face there from Basilashvili before he won the ball with his feet, and the referee will indicate very soon to the far side what the infringement was. For now, though, there will be a change of ball, and we could get the first team foul of the game against Georgia, and it's only taken 2 minutes 48.
Yeah, foul by Basilashvili. It could easily be for a Voy as well. Yes, it was. Voy not called by the player, so Voy shouted at all times by players. It basically means I am here, and if you fail to call Voy and then there's a collision, it means you haven't informed even opposition players that you're where you are and you've caused a foul. You could be running at a player, and if you don't call Voy and run into them, then it's your fault, it's your foul. So no Voy given, and that's the first of the team fouls. Good ball into the box, and again wide of the near post by Hasan Satay. He's had 3 shots on goal so far, none on target, but he is getting closer and closer. But it is the first of 5 team fouls. Any more than that, and then it will be an 8-metre penalty hit. The do gets rescinded after half-time and reset to 0. Here goes Satay from the halfway line, straight down the centre this time. Stops on the edge of the D, lovely skill over to the right-hand side. Right-footed shot into the back of the net, finds the bottom left-hand corner, and it's taken Turkey just more than 3 minutes to open the scoring, and it's that man, Hasan Satay. It's his 4th goal of the tournament, and it's his first goal today, the first goal for Turkey, and it could be the first of many.
Well, he's looked threatening, hasn't he, in the first 3 minutes of this game. Manages to wriggle towards the right corner of the D, a bit of room, and had an angle to fire it in towards the far corner of Irakli Mandaria's net. Turkey drawing first blood in this one very early on indeed. They lead by a 1-0. Georgia having to make sure they're not too demoralised in this game. They've actually, their strong point so far in these championships is not conceding early. That's the one thing they've been able to cling on to. Not now.
Yes, I mentioned they've managed to keep a clean sheet. Another foul here by Basilashvili, and it's going to be another team foul. And I said I fear that if they do concede early, then it could really turn into a bit of a hiding, and another team foul. Referee comes over to the far side in front of the officials' tent and says it's a foul by number 6, and again that's Georgi Basilashvili. So the second team foul, and it's a second personal foul. Once they get to 5, then they'll have to leave the field of play. Now if you do have a substitute, you can bring someone on, but of course Georgia don't, so if they get to 5 personal fouls, then they will be off. Flip ball from the right over to the left. Hasan Satay can't keep that from going out of play, but I think that's going to be a tactic that's used quite often today. Hasan Satay down the left and on the edge of the D. Now I think the goalposts were just slightly moved, so the referee's just halting play and they'll just move the goals back. So Georgia up against it, and Turkey, they're avenging this defeat to Russia yesterday. A really competitive match. I went down just before the game ended and stood by one of the kickboards. The kickboards are angled slightly backwards, so if you do run into them, then you do have a little bit of give into them. They're not level straight 90 degrees, but it was a really physical match with Russia, so Turkey will hopefully be able to get through this one without any more injuries. Looks like they've got a clean bill of health. I'll ask John Ball after the game, actually, the Turkish manager, how the team's held up after 3 games in 3 days. Going to ground is Basilashvili on the right hand side inside the final third, and Turkish defender just asking that there was a arm into the face, Emre Okul. But it's going to be a free kick to Georgia, and they're going to have to make the most of these moments inside the Turkish final third. We do say broken line, and you can see on your screen the dotted line that splits the pitch into 3, and it just gives an indication a few showers later on. Bashvili shoots from where the free kick was taken, just moved it forward, it hits the defenders, it comes back out to him and then rolls harmlessly to the goalkeeper, who launches a counter-attack quickly down the right-hand side to try and find Hasan Satay. In fact, it's picked up by Köpezoglu inside the D, who squares it over to the left. He was the goal scorer in the final 2 years ago. Satay over on that left-hand side, goes past one, past another, towards the edge of the D. Lovely drag back, right-footed shot wide at the right-hand post. What a goal that would have been if it nestled into the top corner. Lovely skill by Hasan Satay. Lovely drag back, which fooled 2 defenders, but his shot went wide.
It did, and he's knocking on the door for a second, not settling for the one he's got already. Margaretashvili at the other end, tight angle for him on the right side of the area, manages to force a save out of the Turkish goalkeeper Doruk Erkman, and it's forced back over halfway. Georgia will come again though with Badlashvili, looking keen and trying to start an attack down the centre of the field. Gets towards the left side of the D, and another shot coming in there from the Georgians in towards Doruk Erkman, who is equal to it this time and able to clutch the ball with 2 hands towards his midriff and bowl it out to the left-hand side. Hasan Satay has it now, looking menacing as he plays it towards the right, and Okul haven't had much from him so far in this game, tries to work his way towards the byline, struggles to have control of the ball, and it goes out of play for a Georgia ball. On the right-hand side it goes with Margaretashvili, the captain, scampering down the right-hand side. The last touch has come off Köpezoglu, who cannot manage to regain possession, and it will therefore be a corner for Georgia, who have certainly not been completely overwhelmed by the European Championship, I say, facing them, but they need to be a bit more penetrative in front of goal.
Yeah, this is good for Georgia and their confidence as well. Yes, they're 1-0 down, but they've had a couple of attempts on goal. And one player in particular, and I'm going to say it's going to give confidence to, and that's their only sighted player, the goalkeeper, who had a thankless task against Belgium with only 2 outfield players at the end, and he just had to throw the ball down and watch the wave after wave of attack come back to him. And he'll be watching on, delighted with this Georgian attack, although it gets snuffed out from the corner, poor corner, and it's a counter-attack for Turkey. Down the left-hand side, and a real sickening collision there. And going to ground is Köpezoglu, who is a very strong individual. He's lying flat on his back, ran straight into the number 8 Kashaya for Turkey. You can see here he's going to put his head down and just wait for this collision. Here comes Köpezoglu, who is a very, very strong player. Bang! Into the number 8. And Kashaya goes to ground, and he's slowly getting to his feet. It looks like he's winded the Georgian player crouching down on the right-hand side, but the real attention is with number 4, Köpezoglu, who I mentioned. It was his goal which won the European Championships 2 years ago for Turkey in the final against Russia in Hereford, and he's got 1 goal to his name so far in this tournament, but it doesn't look too good at all for him. Now, both players, I didn't hear a whistle or see an infringement caused. Both players would have shouted voy, and sometimes in blind football, even if voy is called by both players, then these collisions can happen, but this one is right up there with one of the worst that I've witnessed, and I've seen plenty of blind football matches in my time, and looks like there's going to be a substitution. Yeah, the universal term for substitution, with the crossed hands and in a circle motion. It's quickly made, and Köpezoglu's going off and doesn't look too steady on his feet. Coming on will be number 10 for Turkey. And it shows you the strength of their team when you bring on a player like Koban, Cecil Koban, who has been in the starting lineup for Turkey in their first couple of games. Remember, it is the 3rd game in 3 days for these, so they haven't had a day off yet. They will do before their next games. And later on today, local time here in Berlin, 5 o'clock, England against France. A vital game in Group A for both sides. And then it's the host nation Germany against Romania at 7:30. If you want to get in contact with us, please use the Twitter handle at Euro 2017 Berlin and hashtag the sound of football. So if there's any questions, tell us where you're watching, also how you're watching as well. Are you watching this on a stream via official sites or maybe via Unilad or plenty of other options? Ask us any questions to do with the sport and we'll do our best to answer. And tell us who you're supporting as well. Ball down the right-hand side for Turkey. Okel just overruns the ball and Georgia can't clear their lines at the moment. Still with Okel, drifts inside, picked up by the substitute Kobans, goes back to the halfway line, just slices his clearance, and if Margalashvili can pick this up, he's only got a couple of men between him and the Turkish net. Picked up by Bashlashvili though, he's got plenty of pace over the halfway line, left-hand side. A mop of hair leading the way, goes past one, edge of the D, and he's brought down on the 8-metre mark. That's a poor foul by the Turkish defender, just as Bashlashvili was looking to strike the ball. It shows you what a good player he is, but just about to pull the trigger from the edge of the D, and he was brought down unceremoniously by the captain Uzum, a last-ditch tackle, and I'll be surprised if Uzum gets away with just a team foul there. Looks like he is. That's the third team foul for Turkey, and a real chance here for the Georgians to strike this. It's just shy of that 8-metre mark, so 7 metres from goal. Absolute dead centre. So a 4-man wall standing on the edge of the goalkeeping square, which is 2 metres from the net. The goalkeeper can only be the player in that goalkeeping square. He can't come out any further. If he does, then it will be a penalty. And we've had a few of those in this tournament so far. First game today was 0-0 between two of the top teams in this group, Spain and Russia. So free kick to Georgia. Real chance here for Bashlashvili, or maybe Margalashvili, who is standing with him. It's going to be Margalashvili. Right footed, goes wide of the right-hand post. The wall was blocking that side of the goal, the right side, but they weren't called into action as it went wide by 2 or 3 yards. Long throw down for Turkey down the left-hand side.
Not sure how many better opportunities Georgia are going to get in this game. It's Margalashvili, who got six goals for Georgia in the qualification tournament earlier on this year in Romania. In order for the Georgians to get to this tournament, he couldn't get his first and Georgia's first of these European Championships here in Berlin. Corner on the left-hand side for Turkey. Meanwhile, at the other end, in the all-white strip, going across to take it is Hasan Satay, and joining him as well is Emrah Okul, both of them wearing the bright yellow trainers, and they're stood on the left with 2 options inside of them as well in the penalty area. Everyone up for Turkey for this one. On the left-hand side, it's Okul trying to worm his way outside then inside towards the byline. He fails to keep the ball in play and amounts any serious opportunity there for Turkey, and Mandaria can throw the ball down the right-hand side. Bashlashvili battling for it on the right-hand side on halfway. He's got Koban for company now. The ball squirms towards the right-hand kickboard. Bashlashvili doesn't give up anything at all. He carries on pursuing the ball down the hearts of the Turkish defence. It squirms away from him and he's cleared diagonally towards the far side of the field. Sattar tries to get on the end of it. Well read though by Bachuk Kazia, listening out for the rattle of the ball and also taking on the instructions from his goalkeeper as well, but there could be real trouble on here as a shot comes in from Satay straight onto the midriff of the goalkeeper Irakli Mandaria, who was, well, just faced up there by Hasan Satay in a central position, and that almost could have been a second goal for him and Turkey in this game. Turkey still have possession with Koban just inside his own half on the right-hand side, tries to play it down the line with the inside of his right foot, but Bashlashvili comes across to intercept. He now strides over halfway. It's a 2-on-2 here. If Georgia could play it right, they could have a real opportunity, but they don't. Clearance away from the captain for Turkey, Uzum, down the left-hand channel, and he now finds Satay, who's got himself in a bit of a cul-de-sac here. Either side of him is Margalashvili and Kaiser, and the referee says that will be a free kick in favour of Turkey, but the opportunity from Satay was the golden chance for Turkey to get a second one in this game, Pete.
Yeah, point-blank range, straight at the goalkeeper, who saved with his mid-drift. So a foul there by Georgia, although it hasn't gone down as a team foul, it's just a personal. So it's going to be Turkey from the left, just outside the broken line. Now towards goal, Satay once again just stumbling over the ball, and that's going to run out harmlessly for a goal kick to Georgia, who will be quite satisfied actually after that early goal. That 5 minutes later, it's only still the one, and they've had a number of attempts themselves with the likes of number 6, Georgia Bashlashvili, but it's back inside Turkish territory, and their final third with Koban, who just pokes it out for a corner, so concedes possession there. He's full of skill, is the number 10. He's had another few pirouettes and Marseille roulettes in the centre circle already, but he wasn't too clever there, just knocking the ball out of play. And it's going to be a substitution for Turkey. So coming off will be Hasan Satay, who's already got the first goal of the game, and he goes off after a number of opportunities to score a second. And just looking over towards the bench, it doesn't look too clever for Kerpatoglu, who's been substituted with that injury. He's got a neck brace on already, so hopefully it's just precautionary. Corner taken, and has made a real mess of that, and it's cleared by Turkey down the left-hand side. If it can be picked up here by number 7, Okel, it could be a real opportunity for Turkey to get the second. Outside the D, left-hand side, stops. He's got 3 men in front of him, squares it over to the right. Picked up by Aslan. Aslan inside the D. He's up by the touchline though, and it just runs out again for a goal kick. Actually, he's gone for a corner, so the referee has just changed his mind. There's Kerpatoglu with that neck brace on. Doesn't look too clever at all, but again, hopefully, fingers crossed, that is just precautionary. There doesn't want to be any rush to help him away. So, corner to Turkey on the right-hand side. They lead by 1-0 with 8 minutes and 39 seconds gone in this first half, 20 minutes each way. And it's going to be taken by Aslan, number 5. He rolls it to the near side, and a shot was deflected by the Georgian defence, and here comes the rampaging run of Bashlashvili up to halfway inside the centre circle, over to the right-hand side in front of the referee's dugout. Pushes Koban to the floor. Fairly, says the officials. Bashlashvili to the edge of the D, central position, wrestling with the Turkish defender. Shot on goal, and well saved by the goalkeeper. Can't come out and claim that, and it's just knocked behind for a corner by the defence. But panic stations in the defence of Turkey. Bashlashvili with a slalom run in and out of defenders, and as he got right in front of the goalkeeper, who, fair play, came out to the edge of his goalkeeping square and went down on one knee and bravely blocked the shot at point-blank range. But it's only 1 goal at the Turkish lead. Yes, they're expected to win this game quite convincingly, but Georgia do have that attacking threat through Georgi Bashlashvili. Again, he's the one player who's had a little bit of a rest because he's suspended for their second game yesterday. This is the third in 3 for both sides. Corner from the right for Georgia. Lovely drag back shot on goals wide and the near post, and it will be another goal kick. This time it was Marglashvili with that shot. Long throw down the left, can't be picked up by Okel, and that goes out straight as a Georgia player is down, and it will be just a pause in play. There's a number of players on the floor, and of course we don't want any injuries at all, especially for Georgia, if I can say, because obviously they don't have any substitutes at all, so they'll be down to 3 outfield players.
So just a time for the Georgians to take on some fluid. Bashlashvili having a big gulp of water there in front of his coach, Ilya Kiplashvili, who was just instructing him on how to negotiate the remainder of this first period. There is under 11 minutes remaining, with Turkey leading by just the 1-0 at this moment in time. And sportingly, the ball is kicked back by Okel behind for a Georgian ball, and they can start from the back. A change being made from Turkey. Off the pitch will be Koban, to be replaced by Recep Aydeniz, who's already got 2 goals in these championships so far. He'll be on defensive duty at the back alongside his captain Ibrahim Uzum. Turkey going back to the diamond formation, with Ibrahim Uzum at the bottom of it, and at the tip of it will be Emre Okel, the number 7. But at the moment they're having to defend as a bit of a rugged square, with Okul going across to the far side and marking out Margarashvili, who scampers down the right-hand side, gets near the byline here. It's going to be a tight angle for a shot, but he still charges towards the byline. Too far, though, he goes, and it goes out for a goalkeeper's ball. Erkman throwing it down the left-hand side for Emre Okul. Left-hand side coming in from the kickball, faced up by Bazilashvili, goes one way, then on the outside, wriggles his way infield as he gets towards the edge of the area. The keeper makes a right hash of that, and Aslan's got a chance to shoot here on the edge of the area. Aslan trying to turn on the shot, but Mandaria manages to finally get two hands on it there. A red-faced moment potentially for him. Bazilashvili darting down the centre. Uzun comes across and just hacks the ball clear over the kickboard on the far side and out for a Georgian ball midway inside the attacking third. And going across will be Georgi Bazilashvili. Of course, back from suspension today. He would have been very eager watching on the sidelines from the last game when they took on Belgium to be back on the field, and he is today, and maybe not enjoying the result, but he'll be enjoying feeling the turf underneath his feet, and with the ball as well, trying to get Georgia back on level terms in this game. He'll be taking it with Margalashvili on the far side once the referee is happy with the guard behind the goal and the goalkeeper as well. So Bazilashvili picks up the ball, right-hand side, looks to charge towards the edge of the area. No fear at all, but it backfires for him as the ball is cleared away, and Okul now trying to go for it on the left-hand side, completely loses track of the ball there. It's not really been Okul's game so far. Georgia restart things from the back.
Yeah, Georgian goalkeeper, who's made a couple of important saves to keep it just to one goal. Throws it out down left-hand side to that man, Bazilashvili, who's wrestling away from the Turkish defence. Goes from the left-hand side to the right by the broken line. Now passes the broken line, but his shot is stubbed wide of the left-hand post. And it's going to be another Turkish restart. They've got a tactic, Turkey, of throwing the ball long downfield. This time it's down that left-hand side, which they've used quite often. Okal now drifts inside, stops, gets to the broken line, goes back out to the left-hand side. Bit of a scrambled defence here by Georgia, where they're all following the ball, none of them really holding position. Aslan, who's the substitute, number 5, from the right, goes back to the halfway line, now drifts over to the left where Okal is standing. Goes himself, Aslan, but he runs into the Georgian defence on the edge of the D, has to go and pick it up from the right, still has possession, 3 men over to try and tackle Aslan, and they're successful. Went out for a corner. No, Aslan brings it back from the right-hand side, squares it over to the left to find Okal. Okal, good tackle comes in from Bazilashvili, and Turkey once again forced back to the halfway line to start again. Okal, slalom run from the centre over to the right, but runs out of play for a restart. And Turkey at the moment are struggling to break down the team of Georgia, who are holding firm in defence. Timeout called by Georgia, and the two teams come over to the far side from our position. And Georgia will be quite delighted actually by only being 1 goal behind. After that early goal from Turkey, it could have really opened the floodgates, but that's failed to happen. And yeah, Georgia will be happy, and they've performed admirably, and they've also caused Turkey 1 or 2 problems at the other end.
Yeah, Bacha Margalashvili is certainly the key man for Georgia. They missed him last night, did the Georgians, after he was dismissed for a 5th personal foul. And Bazilashvili is also back in this game, the number 6. They are the key men for Georgia, and if they can get an angle on goal, they may be able to drag their team back into this game against all odds. Team talk for Turkey, though, certainly a case of just negotiating the rest of this first half, maybe getting another couple of goals, but just as importantly, making sure they're not red-faced at the other end. So far, Doric Erikman has only had 2 saves to make, and they were more or less back-to-back as well. Either side of those chances, nothing has come his way. So again, fluid's been taken by both sets of players. A very hot day here in Berlin. There is a bit of a breeze going around, which maybe is bringing the temperature down a couple of notches, but nonetheless, all the players here being sun-kissed in the German capital. Goalkeeper will start for Georgia at the back. Irakli Mandaria in all green with the red knee pads. throws it out towards the right-hand side, and Georgi Basilashvili comes up towards halfway, trying to regain control of the ball. The stocky Emrah Okul is across, though, to win possession back. Tries to square it for Aslan across the halfway line on the right-hand side. He comes out on top ahead of Marglashvili. He also tries to wriggle past Basilashvili as well, but a lovely turn from Basilashvili sets him onto the attack now. Down the right-hand side of the area, Uzun once again back there to win the ball. There's a shin pad down on the floor. Aslan's trying to indicate to the referee that he needs to find that shin pad pretty soon. Could be dangerous if not, especially with the reputation the Georgians have got of being tough in the tackle. Marglashvili coming up towards the halfway line. He's stopped by the referee so that he can pick the shin pad up and give it back to Aslan, who will now put it inside his left sock. So we may have a bit of a stoppage here. Of course, the rule is that the clock stops every time there is a stoppage in this game. We're so close to the 12-minute mark now. Pete, how are you calling this one with just Turkey leading 1-0?
I think Turkey are going to be quite disappointed, actually, that they've not increased their lead after scoring so early. 3 minutes gone and they opened the scoring, and it might lead to 3, 4, maybe even 5 in this first half. But no, I think Georgia have done very well, and they've caused, I think, probably more problems at the other end than Turkey have at the Georgian end since that early goal. Do remember to get in contact with us using that hashtag, the sound of football. And there's going to be a substitution. Follow us on Twitter at Euro 2017 Berlin. Tell us where you're watching and who you're cheering on. Also ask us any questions to do with the sport of blind football. Coming onto the field once again, Hasan Satay has come on, so maybe the Turkish bench and the Turkish manager John Ball said, right, enough is enough, let's get the star men on and let's try and get a second goal. Really put the Georgians under a lot of pressure and destroying. I hope they've got to maybe getting a point or even a win out of this. Ball rules out of play for a Russian goalkeeping restart after a mazy run from Marglashvili. Long throw downfield towards Satay on the edge of the goalkeeping square. Picks it up, point blank range into the back of the net. It's the tactic that Turkey like to use. A long throw out by the goalkeeper. Lurking on the edge of the goalkeeping square is Hasan Satay. He picks it up, turns on a sixpence and rifles it into the roof of the net from point blank range. Nothing the goalkeeper can do about that. And it's Turkey 2, Georgia 0.
Satay was so good at the start of this game, of course got taken off by John Ball for a few moments, immediately coming back onto the field and bagging one into the net as well. It's another one for him. It's his 5th of the championship so far and his 2nd of the day as well. I think this is Turkey's strongest team, you know, the 5 that are out on the field at the moment, particularly the outfield 4. And they're certainly taking this one by the scruff of the neck. Now Basilashvili with a show of dissent here, kicking the ball away as the referee stopped him. I think the initial kickoff there was a double kick from Basilashvili, who then got the ball, fired it into the direction of the Turkish bench, and the referee has now given Basilashvili a 2nd yellow card, his 3rd of these championships, which is an unwanted record, it has to be said, but if you were going to say that record was held by anybody, it would have had to have been Basilashvili. His temperament is really there for all to see at the moment, remonstrating with the officials still, and he has to make sure he doesn't get another yellow card. Thankfully, I think John Ball's seen the funny side of things as the ball was fired in his direction, but not the most savoury of scenes.
No, it just shows the temperament of Basilashvili. He's a very good player, but he's already received 2 yellow cards and been sent off from 1 game, and no, he's not only given away a team foul, but also obviously got himself booking as well. And this is what happened in their previous games for Georgia. As soon as they conceded a couple, they then lost their heads and went on to concede plenty. Conceding 8 to Spain, 5 to Belgium. So it's going to be Turkey to take the kickoff now because of that double tap kickoff by Georgia. Down the left-hand side with Satay, looking for the 2nd hat-trick of the tournament. Satay comes in from the left-hand side, goes straight through towards the broken line and then carries on his run. The goalkeeper's not happy because he had the ball in his hands, and Satay wasn't given the information by the coach behind the goal, and he's somehow got himself a corner. Even though the goalkeeper had the ball in his hands inside the goalkeeping square, he then carried on his run and then created a bit of a train in front of him, pushing player into player, and he's got himself a corner, so it's worked And a real opportunity again for Turkey. So taking the corner, here's number 2, Aydeniz, and along with Satay. Aslan's inside the D. Satay takes it, goes out towards the broken line, tackled, and now the break's on for Georgia. Up to the halfway line, Marglashvili, still with the ball, left-hand side, coming to the broken line. Continues his run to the right-hand side of the D. The Turkish players have stopped running, and the ball runs out of play, and it's going to be a corner. So good play there by Marglashvili. Managed to follow the ball over to that far side, and it's going to be a corner to Georgia. Nearly 13 minutes gone in his first half. Turkey leading by 2-0. Those 2 goals by Hasan Satay of Turkey. Georgia now, Bashlashvili from that right-hand side, again trying to bulldoze his way through. They're going to have another bite of the cherry because it's goes out for another corner to Georgia on the right. And just looking downfield, Satay is deep inside the Georgian third, so if the goalkeeper does get the ball in his hands, I think he's going to release it long downfield quickly. Corner taken to Bashlashvili on the right, tackled quickly by Aslan, and he turns to the referee to say, surely you pull me back, but here goes Aslan downfield over the halfway line, dead centre, stops on the broken line, goes down the left-hand side. Marseille Roulette, edge of the D, chance for a right-footed shot, goes wide. Got his radar slightly wrong there at the end, but lovely close control by Aslan. Gets a round of applause from the crowd here in Berlin. Lovely play, got to the edge of the D. Look at that for a lovely Marseille Roulette on the edge of the D. Moved from the left to the right, and then his right-footed shot went wide. There's going to be a free kick here to Georgia, just inside the broken line. Foul given away by Aydeniz, and it's going to be exactly on the broken line. Dead central position. So a chance for the Georgian side, and another foul for Turkey. That makes it 4.
Amazingly, Pete, there has been 6 shots each in this game, which you would not have expected coming into it. Turkey considering their 14th foul as well, so it's they with the discipline problems at the minute rather than Georgia. However, I do have to say, if things keep going against Bashlashvili, the number 6 for Georgia, he just seems like a loose cannon, and eventually at the Catherine wheel is going to fire, and he may get a second yellow card. This free kick dead central on the broken line, and Bashlashvili just stood at the moment in front of Marglashvili, his captain. I suspect it will be Marglashvili just tapping the ball forward for Bashlashvili to fire towards the 3-man Turkish wall. Once again, Hasan Satay right at the other end of the field. Bashlashvili will strike. It's a very poor connection on that ball, and it just bobbles through towards Erkman. So that's gone down the other end of the field straight away as Aslan tries to pick up possession of the ball. Wriggles his way on the right-hand side, then back in field once again. Marglashvili wins possession though, charges over the halfway line. Coming across to it is Aydeniz, who's not had too many touches of the ball, the Turkish number 2, but now he's beginning to show us what he can do as he comes towards the edge of the penalty area. Bashlashvili back there to win the ball back fairly, and now the counter-attack is on, and the short at the back here at the moment, Turkey. Bashlashvili collides into Uzum. The referee gives a free kick. The Turkish captain is not happy as he turns towards the referee, and the Turkish bench as well, all raising their arms as one, saying that Uzum won the ball there. And the referee on the far side is just talking to John Ball and explaining the decision by the referee, but that will be a 15th foul of the game for Turkey, and with 6 minutes to go, one more team foul committed by the Turks will result in an 8-metre penalty for Georgia. So interesting stuff this. It's going to be another free kick for Georgia, just right of centre on the broken line, and this is certainly precarious moments for the Turks, who have to be careful not to fall into the trap here of being over enthusiastic in this game and conceding a 6-team foul. This time around it will be Bashlashvili rolling the ball forward to Marglashvili. And he has the ball now, gets it on his left foot, then checks back onto the right. Dead central shot goes in, aimed towards the far corner of the net, and it goes wide of Erkman's left hand upright. The ball immediately thrown forward, that long ball that Turkey are renowned for in these championships. not coming off this time around. Basilashvili very eager to win it back on the halfway line, right-hand side. He charges forward, straight into Aydeniz, who has to make sure he doesn't foul Basilashvili, who comes forward now just midway in between the attacking zone, gets towards the byline right-hand side, manages to pull it across, but it's tamed towards the front post and easily gathered by Erkman in his goalkeeper's area. Throws it towards the left-hand side now and halfway with Hassan Satay. Rolls the ball nicely diagonally down the centre. Now on the right-hand side, Aslan has it, tries to turn on a dime on the edge of the goalkeeper's area, but Mandaria, thankfully for him and Georgia, can get the ball back and throw it out to Basilashvili. On the turn on the right-hand side, midway inside the Turkish half, goes for a shot, blocked by Uzun, the captain, and it breaks back for Basilashvili, who will look to carry on the attack. He may have gone a little bit too far with this one, however. Uzun can clear it over halfway.
Over halfway for Aslan down the right-hand side. By the kickboard, he's forced by Maglashvili, but Aslan still is wrestling with Maglashvili, trying to win the ball back for Turkey, and does so. Can he stop it from going out of play? Yes, he can. On the right, he's inside the D, knocks it across the face of goal towards Satay on the left, who controls well. Chance to get a shot in, drifts into the centre, right-footed shot, but a diving tackle by number 7, Maglashvili. And there's going to be a penalty. It was a foul by Maglashvili. You can see Satay here just about to pull the trigger, and across comes number 7, Maglashvili. And looking from that, I think he had high feet, obviously, but to me, I think he might be very unfortunate. That angle that we've got there is a tremendous angle. You can see that even though Satay kicked the player. If you look closely at the ball, if you're watching this replay on the stream, then here comes the number 7, just there, gets the ball away from the player. I think that is a very good tackle indeed, and it's very harsh that the penalty has been given. But we have got that replay here on the live stream, but it's going to be a penalty from the 6-metre mark, and Turkey with a glorious chance here. A yellow card has been given by number 7, well, to number 7, Maglashvili. Corner, a penalty to Turkey from the 6-metre mark. It's going to be by number 5, Aslan. Silence around the stadium here in Berlin. Referee just having a word with the penalty taker. This will make it 3-0 to Turkey, with just less than 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Just waiting for the Georgian number 6, Basilashvili, just having a bit of attention given to him on the sideline. You can see the close-up of what's going on the bench. Looks like there's a bit of a cut lip going on the Georgian bench, and remember, they don't have any substitutes, so if they do have to take a player off for an injury, then, which we don't want, they will then hopefully will not be able to replace them. And if they do have an injury to the goalkeeper, then they're in a whole world of bother. The coach behind the goal will have to go in goal. Anyway, back to the action. It will be a penalty, so a real golden opportunity for Turkey to make it 3. Aslan with the penalty from the 6-metre mark after that tackle by Maglashvili, who's been given a yellow card. That's the second yellow card of the match awarded to a Georgian player. You can see the coach there just tapping the post on the left-hand side. He's going to do the same on the right, so it gives an indication to the penalty taker where the goal is. Personal opinion, I think it still was a good tackle. But again, we've got a cracking angle here. Takes one step back, straight at the goalkeeper. Good save, stood up firm, 2 hands to the ball, powers it away to the left-hand side, and now Georgia clear upfield, and it's Basilashvili trying to chase the ball down in the opposition D, left-hand side. He picks it up by the corner, just runs the ball out, and it's going to be a restart to Turkey. Long throw downfield once again, straight down. There's 2 Turkish players inside the D. Satay controls, turns, right-footed shot, and he doesn't get a good connection. The goalkeeper hangs onto the ball and throws quickly downfield. The game's got quite stretched. Basilashvili on the left for Georgia. He's going to come inside past the broken line, pushes it and tries to chase the ball over to the right-hand kickboard. He's with the Turkish captain Uzun, who's got his body between Basilashvili and the ball. Lovely stop, and then played down the left-hand side towards the halfway line where Aslan and Satay are located. But it's number 7 mark
on the replay, right-footed, right down the heart of the goal. Well saved by the keeper Mandari in terms of beating it away. It wasn't really difficult in terms of diving or anything like that. Meanwhile, a couple of tasty tackles going in midway inside the Turkish half. The last of them from Aslan, who wins the ball, charges down the centre. There's 2-on-2 on here. Aslan, can he make up for that penalty miss? Goes to the right side of the area. He's got a bit of an angle here. Goes back into the left. Really good chance. Oh, outside of the right foot. And he just plonks off the bottom of the far post. A really good bit of individual skill from Emre Aslan. And that now sees Turkey on over 50 shots in this tournament. At the other end, Margalashvili goes for a tame effort towards goal, easily saved by Erkman, who then bowls it long down the far left. And Sato's been a bit quiet in the last few moments, but he tries to ignite some pace into this one now. Wriggles all the way through. What a goal from Hassan Satai. Must have gone past 2 or 3 red shirts there before working his way into the central position in the area. He must have been around 3 metres out. There is no chance for Mandaria of saving that from close range. It goes to his right, into the back of the net. Hat-trick for Satai, 6th goal of the tournament. Top scorer as well in these blind football European Championships, 3-0.
Yeah, cracking goal there by Hassan Satai. Left the defenders trailing in his wake as he used skill, power and pace. Got to only 3 yards out, no chance for the goalkeeper. To the goalkeeper's right-hand side, didn't move, and it's 3 goals for Turkey, 3 goals for Hassan Satai. And as Jonathan said, that's 6 for him for the tournament. And is that the goal really that just takes it away from Georgia? They've of course got those 5 fouls for Turkey, so they've still got chance in this first half. There's still time remaining, and again, any more fouls, team fouls by Turkey, it will be an 8-metre penalty for the Georgians. Do be aware that 2 Georgian players, 6 and 7, Margalashvili and Bashlashvili, who are standing over the ball there, they do both have yellow cards. Forward goes Bashlashvili, taking the kick off, runs straight into the hat-trick hero for Turkey, Hassan Satai. He goes back inside his own third and then just plays it down the right for Aslan to try and claim. He's battling with Margalashvili, who does very well for Georgia. Goes to ground, and is that a foul? And if so, this will be an 8-metre penalty if it goes against this team. Looks like the pushing signal has been given there by the referee, and it's going to be an 8-metre penalty kick for Georgia. So a chance for Georgia from the 8-metre mark. And yes, the referee comes over to the referee stand and just gives the indication it was for pushing, and that is indeed going to be an 8-metre penalty kick here for Georgia. Now, Turkey had one at the other end, that was from 6 metres because of the foul inside the D, but this one's from 8 metres, and it's going to be taken by number 6, Bashlashvili. Who is by far their most attacking player. Possesses a lot of speed, good close control. Also, he really throws himself around, which is the reason he's been suspended already after 2 yellow cards in the first game. He's got 1 so far in this. This will possibly settle him down if he manages to score. 1 hand on the ball, he's ready to strike it right-footed into the back of the net. It's a goal for Georgia. It's a goal for number 6, Bashlashvili. It's the first goal for Georgia in these championships. They've lost 8-0 to Spain, 5-0 to Belgium. They may be losing this game, but they've got on the score sheets. Cracking penalty there by number 6, Georgi Bashlashvili. And here in Berlin, it's Turkey leading now by 3 goals to 1, and Turkey still have those 5 penalty fouls against their name, so any more, we'll have even more 8-metre penalties for Georgia.
Yeah, John Ball wasn't happy there. He was talking to the referee on the far side. I don't know what he had any problems with. As Georgia get their first ever goal in a major competition. Bashlashvili hungry for more, charging down the centre once again, gets to the edge of the centre circle, now breaks away on the right-hand side of the attacking zone. It'll be a tight angle for a shot. He swings for it anyway, but completely misses the ball and goes out for a goalkeeper's ball. Erkman will eventually throw, but not until this substitute has been made. And coming on now for Turkey is Ercan Bayraktar, the number 9, replacing Emre Aslan, who in the last few moments has missed a penalty and then conceded a penalty.
So it's going to be a restart for Turkey. Goalkeeper Erkman, who no choice and no chance with that penalty. on the 8-metre mark, really crisply struck by Bashlashvili, rolls it to the right. Here comes Bayraktar, the substitute. It shows you the quality of the squad as he goes past one and another on the edge of the D, central position, goes over now to the right, just loses control momentarily. This is a substitute who's come on and showing a lot of skill and a lot of pace. He's still got the ball on the broken line, over to the left, plays it down the left for Satai. Satai, good control, but being tackled by Bashlashvili. Satai gets the better off him, into the D. Referee says a free kick. So either a volley not called or maybe just pulling back on the tall number 11, Hassam Satai, for Turkey. Whatever it is, it's going to be a free kick just outside the D on the left, and about 8 metres from goal. And with a couple of minutes remaining, this could go down as the 4th team foul for Georgia, so they better be careful in these last couple of minutes. And Turkey with a good opportunity to make it 4. Standing over the ball, as you would expect, Hassam Satai, a real star of these games so far. That's his 6th goal he's scored. So the 2 posts once again being tapped. Interesting tactics here. We've got a 3-man wall for Russia covering the near post. And then you've got a bit deeper, standing on the edge of the goalkeeping square, 2 Turkish players. So if this is a shot at goal, I'd imagine that those 2 Turkish players will instantly remove themselves from that area because of the direction that the player will be hoping to strike the ball into. Or maybe are they going to roll the ball to them and then they'll spin and take a shot. Satai shoots on goal, hits the wall, hits Bashlashvili, comes back for more inside the D, and it's scrambled clear by the Georgian defence. Up to halfway, Bayraktar accidentally backheels the ball over to the Turkish right-hand side. Bashlashvili is again trying to win the ball back, but it's Bayraktar, the substitute. Now, from the right-hand side, more central position, edge of the D. Hassam Satai takes over, puts his foot on the ball. If he takes a shot, it's from point-blank range. He just gets pushed off towards the right-hand side. He still has it by the corner, plays it across to Bayraktar, who he can't control, has to go over to the left-hand kickboard by the corner, keeps it from going out of play. Across comes the Georgian defence, and it rolls out for a Turkish corner.
Yeah, certainly does. Not long to go in this game. Just over a minute before the half-time whistle will sound. And Turkey knocking on the door for a 4th one here. What has been not plain sailing for the Turks in this first half. Georgia have put up a very good fight indeed, as they have done in most first halves of games so far in this tournament. Rain beginning to fall here in Berlin. It's not raining goals, however, for Turkey at the end of this first half. Georgia getting the latest one. There's a big breeze blows up as well. A couple of umbrellas coming out as Turkey come towards the halfway line with captain Ibrahim Uzum. He's got 1 goal in this tournament so far. Can he get another? Down the centre he goes. Left-footed shot, low, straight into the path of Mandario. Bells it out towards the left-hand side. Trying to get there is Margvelashvili. He's surrounded by 3 white shirts, however. One of them now is Bayraktar, who is tasked with trying to clear this ball away. But Margvelashvili not giving up at all, doing very well for the Georgian cause. Left corner of the D he comes, now into a central position. Lateral run from him, swings at the ball, completely misses it, and then Uzum comes across as well. He clears the ball down the left-hand side along the kickboard, and now getting there is Satai, who turns, looks for a 4th. He won't get one, however, but it is his hat-trick at half-time that separates the 2 sides. A wonderful hat-trick as well, a super 3rd that I'm sure we will see numerous times, not just in the half-time interval, but for the rest of the championships as well. One of the goals of the tournament from Hassam Satai, who has 6 goals to his name, and he is the top scorer in these championships. A bit of history being made by Georgia as well. Their first ever goal scored at a major international tournament as Georgi Bashlashvili hit the ball into the bottom left corner of Doruk Erkman's net from an 8-metre penalty. Discipline, the only blocked on Turkey's copybook in that first period, conceding a total of 16 fouls. They will go into the half-time tea talk with coach John Ball with a lot to reflect on in that first half. Most of it positive, however, particularly for Hassam Satai. As I say, his hat-trick separating the 2 sides at the interval. At the break, Turkey 3, Georgia 1. And I can now pass back to the studio and Alan, who's joined by Peter.
I have indeed. Peter Selby, we said there'd be lots of goals in this one, but I don't think Turkey going in at half-time only 2 goals up was part of the plan, was it?
No, not at all. Ill discipline again has been shown in the game for both sides. Turkey, obviously with those 5 team fouls, and then they had the 6th, which resulted in the 8-metre penalty kick, which Georgia then scored. But Georgia have given as much as they've received really from Turkey, and we've had some tremendous goals, but a lot of credit has to go to Georgia. Remember, just the 5 players on the field. It's their 3rd game in 3 days. They've managed to get on the score sheet, but also they've peppered the goal. They've had quite a number of attempts on goal as well as Turkey, but Turkey showing their strength and in their goals as well, showing their skill. And that 3rd goal was a real cracker, one of the goals of the tournament so far, and Hassan Satai has to be the player of the tournament so far. 6 goals in those 3 games.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the goals in just a couple of minutes' time. Later on in this competition, we will have a goal of the competition, if you like. It's a goal of the championships competition, for want of a better phrase. We will allow you to vote and decide the winner on that. It'll be very simple. What we'll do is give you a selection of 8 goals, A through to, well, whatever the letter 8 is after that. We'll give you the chance to vote for that, and all that will be is on our Twitter page, which, Pete, is?
Yeah, you want to go to @Euro2017 Berlin, and if you want to ask us any questions, then use that hashtag #TheSoundOfFootball and let us know where you are in the world and who you're supporting, and ask any questions for the great sport of blind football, and we'll do our best to answer them. But of course, get involved in that goal of the tournament competition, and possibly that 3rd one for Turkey in the first half will be one of those going for that top prize of goal of the tournament. Hassan Satai, well, he might not just have the 1 goal, he might be the player who has 3 or 4 to choose from.
The letter is H, I was looking for. But there you go. Let's take a look at some of the highlights, including that early contender for goal of the competition.
So Turkey, you can see there, they're 2-0 up already. Here goes Hassan Satai, and it was again showing his close control, his pace, his power, but when he gets in front of goal in a central position, there's nothing the goalkeeper can do. And you can see the delight of his teammates, but lovely pirouette there away from the defence of Georgia, and that took him clear of the midfield. Then he was faced between 2 or 3 players. One thing he can do, you can either bulldoze between them, or you can try a little shimmy, go one way then another. He did all 3. A little Marseille roulette beforehand, and then used his skill on the edge of the D, and then as soon as he got into the goalkeeping square, or just outside the goalkeeping square, no chance for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, we thought we'd show you that Satai goal first, because if you missed this half, that was the real special moment. Everybody, I can tell you, up here in the studio just gasped at the run and the goal. Here's the rest of the goals, though. It started very nicely for them with Satai early doors. We thought it was going to be all one way after that, and it just seemed to slow down.
Yeah, we were discussing pre-match that if Turkey do score early on, it could mean that the Georgian players do slump, their shoulders would go down, and after 3 minutes, Turkey scoring. A different goal there for Satai. He managed to go out wide and then wrap his right foot around, go into the far post. I love the angle here. Satai going over to the right, and then, like I said, wrapping his foot around the ball, and no chance for the keeper once again.
He actually got quite lucky. Just takes a touch off the left foot and just seems to knock it into his actual stride. Without that fortuitous little touch with the left foot, he may not have blasted it into the bottom left-hand corner, but there you go. You take the breaks.
Yeah, and amongst all these goals for Turkey, Georgia did have plenty of attempts. They've got the likes of Margashvili and Bashrashvili, number 6, with the big mop of hair, and he's causing chaos all over the field, one way or another, taking shots on goal. Now, them two have both been booked as well, so there will be question marks in the second half. Margashvili, he's one player who has been booked. You can see there going to ground a Turkish player after a collision, and the referee didn't take that too lightly. A throw downfield, and that's the second goal for Satai, and that's the tactic that Turkey have used in a couple of their games.
I was going to say, we were discussing over the first couple of games how they didn't use this as often against Russia as we thought they would do, but over the course of the first game and now in this third one, it's beautiful. The ball thrown long by the goalkeeper, Satai listening out for it, gathering it under control, and this finish, Pete.
Yes. If the goalkeeper throws it downfield, obviously if you're standing closer to the goalkeeper, if you're one of the defenders or midfielders of the opposition, you've got less time to react. Satai on the edge of the goalkeeping square, he can then get himself in the position to receive the ball, and if he does receive the ball, all he has to do is turn and then he's only got 3 metres before the goal, and now with the increased height, he can just lift it past the goalkeeper into the roof of the net.
Now they could have been further in the lead had it not been for that penalty save, and that is one of the reasons that they are only 2 goals good. Here's that goal again, just beautifully through the 2 defenders, and then a super finish as well.
Yes, he did pick up the ball a lot deeper than that, actually, just inside his own half, and had a turn before bulldozing his way through with a little shimmy as well, and that's the best goal so far of the game, and that made it 3-0. But then it was Georgia who came back into it, and we'll see their effort on goal after the replay here, and we don't mind seeing this goal once again. And we'll be seeing it, I think, in the goal of the tournament at the end of the tournament, when we look at the best goal scored here in Berlin, and I think Satai will have 1 or 2 on that list. Yeah, lovely play, just using one of the Georgian defenders to keep his balance, and then no chance for the goalkeeper, not just a blast away. Here we go, lovely drag back away from the midfielder, then goes back between them. So there's the piece of skill. But once he got in front of the keeper, they just blast it past him, placed it in the far corner.
Okay, so this was the chance that Georgia were then given to make this competition a little bit closer. So you see the angle right from behind, and he slots it home very nicely indeed. So we are at 3-1 at half-time. Discipline and taking your chances, that's going to be the story of the second half, isn't it?
For both sides. Turkey conceded those 5 team fouls, and then when they conceded their 6th, it meant that Georgia had that chance, which Bashashvili then took from the 8-metre spot. Obviously 2 Georgian players on yellow cards, that's going to be the intriguing situation, because if one of those has to go off, then obviously no one then can come on. In blind football, if someone is sent off with 2 yellow cards, then they can bring on a player, but they haven't got anyone on the bench to bring on, so they're going to be in a little bit of trouble there, and we've seen it in their first 2 games. In that second half, they then conceded 8 to Spain. They were drawing 0-0 at half-time against Belgium, then they went on to concede 5 in that second half, and well, if they get 1 man sent off here, I can see a similar scoreline, if not more, today.
Okay, don't forget, if you've got any questions about the sport of blind football, you can use the hashtag #TheSoundOfFootball and get in touch with us at Euro 2017 Berlin. Pete will try and answer any questions you've got. Now, one about the ball, Pete, caused a little bit of a stir. We said there was a bell in the ball. What we actually meant was, it sounds like there is a bell in the ball, which is why we easily describe it as being a bell in the ball. It's actually not.
No, ball bearings in a little tin sphere, UFO shape if you would have it, on the side of the ball, inside obviously the ball, and it makes a noise similar to maybe a baby's rattle or a musical instrument, really, a shaking kind of sound, and it basically gives the indication to the players where the ball is. It's slightly smaller than your 11-a-side football. It's a size 4 football, if you're aware of the size of football. Size 4, it is quite heavy as well, so when a player receives the ball 3 metres from goal and the goalkeeper comes out and then they turn and take a shot, they have to be quite brave, the goalkeepers, covered in bruises at the end, and yes, it's obviously designed specifically for blind football. The goals have been widened, a really important rule change, 66 centimetres wider, 33 higher, so more goals in these blind football competitions. That's what I think is going to be in order, because there have been plenty of 0-0s in the latter stages of tournaments over the last 5 or 6 years, and another change, those 5 team fouls now instead of 3, any more than that and you have an 8-metre penalty kick.
Well, there you are, all explained. Everybody you speak to around here calls it a bell in the ball, so that's why we said it. But there you go, to clarify, some ball bearings. Right, we're going to head back to the pitch. Shots on goal so far as Pete runs over to the commentary box. Turkey are in control of that statistic. They are in control of the scoreline as we go over at the start of this second half to Jonathan Bell and Peter Selby.
Thank you very much. Turkey immediately making their way down the right-hand side with Bayraktar switching across the face of goal, going diagonally backwards now to the left. And Satai already got a hat-trick, of course, on this game, just to the left of the centre circle. Goes in field, then drags it back out wide as well. Basilashvili clearing it away over halfway, and now Uzun, the captain, the deepest man back outfield for Turkey, just right of centre, slowly plays the ball out towards the right-hand side, and Bayraktar injecting a bit of pace into this game, then goes into the back of Maglashvili, who goes down theatrically but manages to pick himself up to regain possession on the left-hand side, midway inside his own defensive zone. He's forced back to his own byline before eventually clearing the ball away, and in the process he actually tackled Petrashvili as well. A bit of a coming together between those two, hopefully no nosebleeds this time around. Bayraktar darting in towards the penalty area now in a central position, gets the last touch on the ball with his left foot, and he angles wide of the right-hand post of Irakli Mandaria's net. He bowls it out towards the left-hand side, and Basilashvili, he's got a man in his back as he turns on halfway. It's a good bit of play from Basilashvili, that, with the blue knee pads on, as he gets down towards the left-hand kickball, midway inside the Turkish half. Bayraktar has got a real bit of fire in his belly here, comes away with it, waltzes past two players, shoots right-footed towards the near post of Mandaria's net. He stuck out a big left foot and managed to divert it away. There's two Georgians now tackling each other in the corner. Now the goalkeeper will be instructing them to not tackle each other and just to get the ball out of there. They've done one of the tasks, but they have not yet got the ball out of the defensive zone, because Turkey still have it just outside the broken line now. Bayraktar switching it nicely toward the left-hand side. He got the call from Satay, who's gone down to the byline left-hand side, tries to jinx his way back in field again, but the ball is stationary, so the players are struggling to locate where it is. The rattling the ball again is sounding. Right corner of the box, Bayraktar has it, goes on an angle towards the byline, hits his left foot before he can strike it with the right. And Pete, what a breathless start to the second half, 2 minutes gone, 3-1.
Yeah, Turkey looking to get the fourth and maybe the deciding goal in this game early, but here goes number 6, Basilashvili, over to the right-hand side for Georgia, past the halfway line, looking to spin his man, but he forgot about the ball, and now come Turkey down the left-hand side, and really started this second half with a skip in their stride. Aydeniz just runs into the red wall, and now Basilashvili up to the edge of the D. Last man stops him, and that's Uzum, the captain of Turkey. He brings it out himself up to halfway. Game's very stretched, plays it over to the left-hand side where Satay is operating. Georgian player goes to ground. It can't be kept from going out of play. So it's going to be another goalkeeping restart for Georgia. Underarm throw down the right-hand side to Basilashvili. In fact, it's Maglashvili who takes over. He goes himself down the right-hand kickboard and goes all the way to the corner. Shot from an acute angle straight at the goalkeeper, who again throws out quickly to Satay down the left. There's only a couple of players back for Georgia. Goes past one, past another, skips into the D. Great save by the goalkeeper. Stuck out a left hand, didn't move his leg, didn't need to, and palms it away and finds Basilashvili, who's charging downfield, straight down the centre, past the broken line. Plenty of men back for Turkey, and now they lead a charge. It's end-to-end in Berlin. Second half of this Group B clash. Hasan Satay looking for a fourth for himself and for his team. Left-hand side of the D, can't get a shot up on goal, and it will be a corner to Turkey. Breathless stuff, as Jonathan said, in this first 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So, still got plenty of time in this second half, but wow. End-to-end football, no one really getting a real pinpoint chance. A couple of decent efforts at goal, but Hasan Satay with the best of those. Here he goes around the edge of the D to a more central position from the left. Now he's on the right-hand side, shoots straight at the keeper again, palms it away. Both hands got to the ball, and it's going to be a corner on the Turkish right. Good save by the keeper. He managed to track across his goal line. So when the shot was taken from a central position after the corner from the left from around about 8 yards, he was in the correct position and again gets two hands to it. So the Georgian keeper has made a couple of good saves so far. Corner taken down that right hand side, and it goes out for another corner. And I think Turkey might have to employ a different tactic. Satay tried to take it himself. The goalkeeper's not happy it went out for a corner. In fact, he's been overruled. It's going to be a goalkeeping restart, and he just rolls it down forward for Basilashvili, who picks it up inside the centre circle, goes himself past two midfielders. Now he's inside the D, can't get a shot. The goal's too far in front of him and rolls into the goalkeeper's hands, who throws it straight downfield. Hasan Satay's on the edge of the D, central position. Three players are back with him. A drag back's not going to work because Maglashvili came back to help, and he brings it clear for Georgia.
On the left-hand side, he's got Bayraktar at his back. Basilashvili coming across, though, to help him out. But in the end, the one man of Turkey overcoming the two men of Georgia. On the left-hand side is Bayraktar, tackled now by Basilashvili, who retrieves well and charges down the right-hand side. You would not believe that these players were not aware of what was going on in front of them, particularly Basilashvili. You know, he's running into a dark alleyway there, but he still does it so quickly, with so much strength as well. The bravery of that man is absolutely incredible. Yes, he's a bit of a loose cannon at times, but goodness me, he wears his heart on his sleeve. On the right-hand side, the ball is with Aidenis, trying to come over the halfway line. Margalashvili switches play as he wins it back, but Basilashvili now on the right-hand side, coming towards the byline. It came off him last, and it will be a Turkey ball. Before they start, though, at the back with their goalkeeper, Doruk Erkman, there is a change to be made, a double sub as well. Leaving the field is Hasan Satay, and Emre Okul replaces him. So just when you think that Hasan Satay going off is a bit of relief for the Georgia defenders, 6 goals in these championships so far, he's replaced by a man who got 7 goals in 2015 in Hereford, Emre Okul. Also coming on to the pitch is Salal Koban as well. He comes on for Erkan Bayraktar, the number 9, who had a bright start to the second half. So an opportunity for Turkey now from the back as they bowl it over the halfway line left-hand side. Bit of room for Emre Okul to work with. He clips the ball square towards the right-hand side of the halfway line, but the first one to respond to the sound of the ball was Bakana Margalashvili coming down the left-hand side. Salal Koban comes across, though, the substitute, and now charges over the halfway line in a central position. He steps over the ball inadvertently there, which meant Basilashvili could pick up the loose pieces and clear over the halfway line in a central position. Margalashvili gets the better of his man as he comes to the right corner of the D. It's a touch from Uzum and a completed clearance from him as well with the left foot that gets it over halfway and averts the danger for now. Basilashvili turning on a sixpence and trying to clear it down the right-hand side. It's Okul coming across, and he tries to dribble his way in towards the penalty area. Basilashvili going towards his own goalkeeper there, eventually clears. He's really frustrated with his teammates, Basilashvili, as he turns around and slaps his thighs. Okul now goes past him and then shoots right-footed from just inside the left corner of the box, and it goes towards the far corner of the pitch rather than the net, and out for a goalkeeper's ball. Basilashvili right-hand side, turning with a white shirt in his back, and wearing that is Recep Aydeniz, who gets possession for the Turks on halfway, but not for long. Basilashvili still marauding down the right-hand side. He goes past Uzum, it's a tight angle, and he shoots towards the near post. Basilashvili making sure that Georgia do not go down without a fight here. Of course, they will probably not progress to the semi-finals, but there are still placing matches going off after that, 9th v 10th and 8th v 7th, etc, etc. So Georgia will be hoping to finish in the top 8. Turkey hoping to be the top one like they were in 2015, but it's not going all their own way so far in these championships. Yes, a convincing win over Belgium by 7 goals to 0, but defeat yesterday to Russia, and now a struggling victory over Georgia. Certainly not the ideal start to John Ball's campaign in these championships. Okul left-hand side near the byline now. He's got 2 red shirts following him. Their pressure is enough to put Okul off, and he overruns the ball out of play for a Georgian ball. Bowled out to the left-hand side on halfway. Coming away with it is Salal Koban on the right-hand side. Bit of room to run into. Then collides into a defender on the right corner box, but turns away from him. Really well shot on the angle. It goes into the side netting, but Koban there with a nice spark for Turkey. That just shows the sort of talent they can bring off from the bench.
Yeah, good turn there by Salal Koban, and shot just into the near post. It goes Basilashvili from the left over to the right by the D of Turkey. Just runs out of real estate, and it goes out for a goalkeeping restart. Underarm throw gently to the halfway line for Okal, number 7 on the left. He's got Koban on the right, but Okal goes down the left himself. Past the broken line, goes to ground, nothing given. Looks like he just slipped, and it goes out for a goal kick. Goalkeeper looked like he was going to overarm throw that, but underarm throw just to the feet though of number 7 Okal from a central position, slightly overruns the ball, and he was clean in goal there. If he didn't stumble, he would have had a clean shot from only a few yards out. On the right with Koban inside the Georgian third. Lovely drag back away from the midfield. Some of these Georgian players look a bit tired. All over to the left to try and find Aydeniz. and that goes out for another goal kick. So 7.5 minutes gone inside this second half. Still Turkey lead by 3 goals to 1. All the play predominantly inside the Georgian half. Lovely drag back by Marglashvili. Goes over the halfway line, right hand side, past the broken line, edge of the D. 2 men with him, goes to ground, nothing given. Even after a couple of tumbles and turns, it's going to be another goal kick to Turkey. And again, the game's got quite stretched. Wave after wave of the Turkish attack. Goban now down the right, stops on the broken line, drags it away from Basilashvili, who's very tenacious, sticks with him and just kicks the ball out down the Georgian right. Picked up again by Turkey, and a real collision there in midfield, and it's going to be a foul. No, the referee waves play on. Shot on goal straight at the goalkeeper. A real opportunity for Okal from only a couple of yards out. I'm amazed the referee didn't actually blow up. It was a collision, and I think the referee's just going to have a word with the goalkeeper. Not too sure what the goalkeeper's complaining about, and I think one of the Georgian players is going to be taken off. Basilashvili just being brought to the near side.
Well, of course, Georgia have been through a bit of a bloodbath in the last couple of games. Last night was certainly the case as well, when Georgi Petrashvili got a nosebleed, and that is the exact mark where he went down. You can still see the after effects of the dark patch there at where the blood was, and it was a nasty injury indeed for Petrashvili. And this time around, it's Basilashvili who is receiving the treatment. He's got a white towel going around his nose. Maybe his mouth instead, but either way, it's not a pretty injury. Meanwhile, it's blustery Berlin once again, and the rain is beginning to slightly drizzle down here, and the grey skies building up above certainly doesn't make good reading for the rest of this game, and also the game later on today. Don't forget, 5 o'clock local time, England take on France in a massive game in Group A. 2 of the favourites for the title in these European Championships clashing. It should be a classic. Do make sure you join us on this stream for that game, 5 o'clock local time. It starts in just over 2 hours. So still got around 12 minutes remaining of this game. A bit of a delay at the moment. There is a doctor coming across to Basilashvili, and I think it's the roof of the mouth or the lip that has got a problem there. We'll have to wait for confirmation down on the far side, but Basilashvili has got his hand around the right-hand side of his face. I think it is a mouth injury, this, for the diminutive number 6. It seemed like an innocuous collision. He's now got a wet towel, it seems, over his nose. And what is it with the Georgians? And blood. It's a regular occurrence. It's happened in the last couple of days. It's given the other players a chance to sit down on the turf and just to regroup a little bit and get themselves ready for the remainder of this game. Georgia putting in a very good shift so far. Of course, they worked tirelessly last night, 2 men down, in order to make sure the score against Belgium was a respectable one. It was in the end, a 5-0 defeat, and now the afternoon after, they're straight back on the field and having to tear around against the European champions. It's only 3-1 to Turkey, and Georgia look as if there will be a man down momentarily as Basilashvili is led behind the byline on the far side.
Yeah, of course the players have masks over their eyes, and of course if there's any collision, then their mask could move down and injure the nose and aggravate any injury that's been caused in previous games. Of course, these teams have played, this is their 3rd in 3 days, so they've not had time really to get over any injuries. And well, Turkey, they've had a few injuries themselves. Number 4, Kurtoglu, who's gone off and ended up in a neck brace actually, and fingers crossed he's going to be okay. One of the questions actually I'll ask John Ball, the coach of Turkey, after the game. I'm going to grab him on the pitch and ask him a few questions. Is the latest update on the number 4 Kurtoglu, who scored the goal in the final 2 years ago against Russia to win the title. They are the defending champions, Turkey, and the referee's just sorting out now how they're going to restart the game. So there's 4 outfield players for Turkey in white, shooting from right to left, and 3 now for Georgia in red from left to right. And one of those is number 7, Marglashvili, who gets to the halfway line inside the centre circle, close control, lovely pirouette and drag back away from the midfield, goes down the right hand side towards the broken line, just gets held up by the Turkish defence, being pushed out of that final third. Now he uses his strength and weight to go back in, but there's one extra player for Turkey, and he goes down the left hand side. Number 7, Okal, up towards the edge of the D. Chance shot on goal, well parried by the goalkeeper. Used his feet to actually go across his line and then double fist it away to the left hand side. Petrashvili, number 17, just plays it down the left and only to the feet of number 7, Koban. Koban up to the broken line, central position. Now drifts over to the left, towards the D, goes to ground, heavy challenge, free kick given by the referee. So it's going to be an attacking free kick, actually injured himself in doing that, Margrashvili. And it's going to be a free kick from roughly 8 metres from goal, left of centre. So another opportunity for Turkey to get the 4th goal, which would really seal the tie. But there's just going to be a slight delay in the meantime because there's a little injury for Margrashvili. But that's the first team foul of this half.
No void.
So a slight delay once again in the game. And back on the pitch, I'm glad to say, is Georgi Basilashvili, who of course was out of the game yesterday because of injury, and this time around he almost missed the rest of the game due to an injury to the face. It's a substitution as well for Turkey. Going off is Recep Aydeniz, and replacing him is Hasan Satay. So, Turkey free kick, just in from the left-hand side of the kickboard. Stood over the ball is Salal Koban, the number 10. And just in front of him is Emrah Okul. It's a 4-man Georgian wall, and behind them are 2 Turkey players, who I imagine are trying to obstruct the view of the Georgian goalkeeper, Irakli Mandaria. Saved a penalty in the first half. Okul, right footed into the bottom corner. No saving that one. A wonderful strike from the Turkish number 7, who gets his 2nd goal of the tournament. A quick turn from the left foot onto the right, and he fired it low into the bottom right corner of Irakli Mandaria's net. A wonderful goal for Turkey. They lead by 4 goals to 1, and surely now the game is all but theirs. So Basilashvili will get another touch on the ball now, and he will kick things off with Margrashvili just behind him. So a real sucker punch that for Georgia, who were doing well, and they actually just got back to a full lineup, and then they got hit with that goal from Emrah Okul. A really clean strike from him. Basilashvili gets past him though now as he darts from left to right towards the right corner of the area. Uzum comes across the captain and just marshals him away. He keeps the ball in on the byline as well and clips it down the left-hand channel. Stops on the broken line. Basilashvili colliding with Koban there. Both of them getting on with it though, and still tussling on the right-hand side. Basilashvili has to make sure to keep his temper levels as low as possible, but he does win a free kick on the right-hand side, just inside the broken line and alongside the kickboard as well. So the red shirts of Georgia not exactly flooding forwards. In fact, it's a corner on the right-hand side. The ball went all the way out in the end. Very difficult from our vantage point to see down this near side with the kickboard. It's around a metre high. So there is a corner on the near side. Georgia just have 2 players up for them, and they are both the ones taking the corner. Margrashvili tries to swerve onto the right-hand side, create a bit of an angle for a shot. It was a tight angle, but he was stumped by Koban, who stood right in front of him. The Turkish players are still trying to thwart Georgia here as they make their way towards the byline once again, but they struggle to get it anywhere further than that, and it goes out of play for a Turkish ball, but they throw it down the middle, and once again it was that cutting idea from Doruk Erkman trying to suss out Hasan Satay at the other end of the field, just in front of the goalkeeper's rectangle. He couldn't turn and get the shot away, however, and the ball just rolled past him and out for a Georgian ball. Down the right-hand side it goes. Margarishvili tussling away with Koban this time around, and we're back to the sort of basketball game again as we keep switching our heads from left to right. We'll go back left again. It's a long ball down the centre. Satai trying to turn away from the three red shirts around him. He might do it, you know. Satai getting a bit fortuitous here with his back to goal on the edge of the area. Basilashvili, of course, he's not going to give that one up. Satai trying to get an angle. He does as well. Straight at the goalkeeper. Comes back for Satai. The keeper has to make sure he stays in the goalkeeper's rectangle. And he fires wide at the second attempt. But we have another injury. This time the inside right knee of Georgi Petrashvili may have come off worst in that collision, I think, there with perhaps Satai and maybe even his own goalkeeper Mandaria. No doubt we'll get a replay from behind the goal of that incident, but once again another Georgian who looks in some discomfort, and Georgia haven't actually got a doctoral physiotherapist strictly named on their team sheet. So goodness knows who's looking after these Georgian players when they get all the bumps and bruises after a game.
Yeah, you have to give credit to Georgia. They're 4-1 down with 10 minutes to go, but they're really defending for their lives on the edge of their own goalkeeping square, jumping in front of the ball. Goalkeeper's been very impressive. Again, he's kept his cool, and the coach is coming from behind the goal to try and give any medical attention that he can. So fingers crossed he's going to be okay. Looks like it might be just a bang on the bottom of the leg. So they're 4-1 down are Georgia, and it looks like they're calling for the stretcher as well. So this is bad news for the Georgians. We know that they only have the 5 players to start with, and it looks like they're not going to end with 5, and that's through injury rather than through any ill discipline. Yes, there are a couple of players on red cards, yellow cards. So a pause in play here. Just a reminder of what we've got coming up later on. We've got a fascinating clash in Group A at 5 o'clock local time here in Berlin. England against France in Group A. Both teams will be looking to get 3 points out of that. And then we have at 7:30 local time the final game on day 4 of these IBSA Blind Football European Championships. Germany, the host nation, in front of what promises to be a large crowd and an expectant crowd. And they're expecting goals and 3 points against Romania. That's 7:30. So make sure you join us for that. Follow us on Twitter at Euro 2017 Berlin and use the hashtag #TheSoundOfSilence if you want to follow us, and also send us any questions. So hashtag #TheSoundOfFootball. So the player has got to his feet. And the stretcher's gone off, happily to record. The stretcher's gone off without a player on it. So hopefully the Georgians will remain 4. So hopefully 4 versus 4. Although he's just walking off to the sideline, so maybe he's just going to get a bit more attention to the injury.
Goalkeeper.
It's going to be a goalkeeping restart anyway for the team from Georgia. Throws out to the left-hand side, and Basilashvili, and he's all action once again over the back of him. He's got Oka, a real physical clash between those two. Referee's done well actually just to let that go on. Sometimes that's the best option, I think, in any form of football. A clash of heads though on the near side, both players down. It'll be interesting to see what the referee gives here. Turkish bench not happy at all. And across comes the goalkeeper for Turkey. And we're going to see here a replay. And both players are on the floor. Basilashvili and Koban clashing. Koban goes into the boards. Over goes Basilashvili. Those boards are helpfully lent backwards. The bench is not happy absolutely whatsoever with that. The Turkish bench, that is. One of the coaches just being told to calm down by John Ball, the manager of the team. Experienced John Ball. He's witnessed many events in blind football. In fact, he's telling the coach just to step back and just calm down. Across comes number 10, Koban, and he's going to be substituted. And they can sort out any problems.
Out number 5.
Ines Masouras, the head of the referees. I was just discussing actually off air a few minutes ago whilst Jonathan was talking you through the action, and I was just discussing about these injuries to players' faces, and he was making a very good point to me about the eyewear. Obviously the eyewear covers the top part of the face, and if there is a collision of heads or an elbow or a hand, then that eyewear can actually move down and interfere with the nose, so there can be a lot of problems with the noses of players, and if they have a nosebleed in a previous match, then that can be aggravated by just the eye mask slipping down over the nose. And there's some new masks being tested actually and being trialled by France, which we'll witness later at 5 when they play England. And it was a new design, and it was given the all clear by the officials that they can trial them basically in these European Championships, and it seems that they've been given the all clear for all the other teams to use. So hopefully just another improvement to moving the sport further forward of blind football. Maybe that's one of the questions you want to ask, and again you can through Twitter at Euro 2017 Berlin is the Twitter handle, and the hashtag the sound of football. That's one of the questions people do ask about the eyewear, and the gauze is underneath to protect the eyes and to make sure everyone's on a B1 level of sight, i.e. no sight at all, because it needs to be a level playing field. Here goes down the right hand side Basilashvili into the D and just overruns the ball and takes a shot at goal. It was actually past the byline, and he took a shot which hit the coach behind the goal, obviously accidental and slightly amusing to many people in the press area. Sate, he switches the ball over. 9 minutes to go to the right hand side, and here comes a slalom run by Okal, stops on the edge of the D. A shot, the ball was actually inside the goalkeeping square, and the goalkeeper again very brave, comes out and throws it down the left.
He does, and Basilashvili now has the ball. Oh, look at that. What a great bit of skill from Basilashvili, going all the way through. Surely he can't finish it. Oh, he goes into the goalkeeper's area. Unbelievable stuff, that one. Well, you can go anywhere in the world this week and watch your football, but you will not see anything as audacious as that. Look at that. Fantastic stuff over the head of Aslan from Basilashvili. And that's what we were missing out on yesterday, Pete, when he was suspended. And there's been a yellow card given out as well, as he was mauled down by Yukam, the captain of Turkey, and it'll be a free kick on the left corner of the box, but that would have definitely been goal of the tournament had Basilashvili put that in the back of the net.
That's a really big foul actually, because the player was bearing down on goal, and if he buried that into the net, then the goal of the tournament competition would have been all over on day 4. But a yellow card because he was the last man, and obviously completely neutral, but it was a real shame that he was brought down, because if he managed to bury that maybe in the top corner, like I said, we would have witnessed one of the best goals I would have seen in any form of football. And well, Basilashvili, he's had quite the tournament. Georgia losing 8-0 and 5-0 to Spain and Belgium. He's been sent off in the first game for 2 yellow cards, and then he's come back. He's already had a yellow card. He's committed a few fouls, and he's had 1 or 2 moments of absolute brilliance, including there. I'm trying to find the words to describe. It was a JJ Okocha moment, really, where he managed to flick the ball over his head from behind himself and then run around the player and then chase that ball, beat another man, and then brought down on the edge of the D. So a yellow card was given, and deservedly so, but well, a real treat for the crowd here, who are basking in some lovely sunshine. When the sun does come out, it is very warm, and maybe through a few threats of rain later on, but we'll try and keep quiet about that. So Koban, who went off after that clash, actually has lost a tooth after that sickening clash with Basilashvili. Obviously he came off with no ill effects, because he's just done a remarkable piece of skill, but Koban lost a tooth in that collision, and that just shows you the effort and the collisions that happened here. It was a real physical encounter between Turkey and Russia yesterday, so they've really been in the wars, and they've got a day off tomorrow. The next game is on Wednesday when they take on Spain, and what a game that promises to be. That could be to basically decide who goes through to the semi-finals. Now, if you do go through to the semi-finals, you will be part of the World Cup next year. Spain actually host it, so they're automatically in. Right, free kick. Let's go concentrate back on this game to Georgia. Edge of the D. roughly 7 meters from goal. It's going to be rolled for Maglashvili. Maglashvili, who won this free kick, he's standing behind him. 4 men in the wall, covering the near left-hand side from the point of view of the Georgians taking this kick. Goalkeeper crashed down low to the right of the goal. Maglashvili, edge of the D, shoots and hits the nearest player, Uzum, who came out of the wall, and he knocks it downfield. Trying to win the ball back is Bashlashvili, the fearless number 6 for Georgia. Goes once again past the broken line, central position, edge of the D. Gets well shepherded out by the defence of Turkey. Still got it by the right corner. Goes himself into the D, runs into the goalkeeping square, and it's going to be another corner.
Unbelievable stuff from Bashlashvili. I think he's got a plaster under his nose that has just come off there, and the referee's just making sure that he's clearly off of his face, because it was dangling around. Not very hygienic, and it could have caught somebody else as well. So that's going to be taken off by Bashlashvili. Just moments after that majestic bit of skill. So in the corner, Bashlashvili will roll this one forward for Maglashvili, the captain, who has it now outside the right corner of the box, goes back on the outside, shoots right through, takes a deflection as it goes through towards the goalkeeper, Erkman, who has to dive down to his left-hand side in that luminous orange jersey and divert it past the post. A great bit of skill from Maglashvili. Him and Bashlashvili have certainly ran the show as far as Georgia concerned, not just in the game, but the tournament as a whole as well. And the shot coming in from him there is saved well by Doric Erkman past his left-hand side, and it goes out of play for a corner ball. Maglashvili takes it on the right-hand side once again. He's got 3 white shirts in his back, 2 of them really putting on the pressure as well. That's Aslan and also Uzum, the captain. This is getting a very steely contest indeed developing now. Aslan controls it just in front of his goalkeeper, tries to turn away and out on the right-hand side. Bashlashvili not going to give that one up, and if there's anyone that you would not want to face on the pitch at the moment, it's Bashlashvili, who has definitely taken this one by the scruff of the neck in the past few moments. And he's going down the left-hand side, charging into now Okul. And I don't think the Turkish bench, particularly when the challengers are going right in front of them, are enjoying the physicality of Bashlashvili. An attempted long throw forward from Turkey. See Satay failed to control, and it goes out of play. But there will be another substitution now for Turkey on the far side. Coming onto the field is Recep Aydeniz, and he's going to be replaced by number 5, Emre Aslan.
Yeah, 4 goals to 1 Turkey lead. 3 goals for Satay, and the 4th goal scorer for Turkey was number 7, Okal. The 1 goal for Georgia scored by Bashlashvili, who had that moment of brilliance only a few minutes ago. Turkey going into the opposition third, being brought down was number 7, Okal, the goal scorer of the 4th goal. He's going to have an opportunity here. See the replay. He got the better of Bashlashvili. He's on a yellow card, so he's really running a risk of being sent off, and you can see there that was a deliberate trip. So he possibly fortunate to stay on. That could have been his 2nd game and his 4th yellow card of this competition. 3-man wall for Georgia. Okal, who was brought down, is standing over the ball. Cracking angle here for that free kick. You can see the 3-man wall is covering the near post. 2 players standing on the edge of the goalkeeping square once again for Turkey. They've employed that tactic on a number of occasions in this game. Right, the 2 posts are being tapped, so the free kick from around about 10 meters from goal. Right of centre. It's going to be Okal to just roll the ball for Uzum, the captain. He's going to get more central and take a shot with his left foot wide of the right-hand post. Got made a good connection on the ball, but it was wide of the right-hand post. And once again, the Georgians breathe a sigh of relief. Throw down the left-hand side to Bashlashvili, who's been in the wars and maybe lucky to be on the pitch. Run straight into the Turkish midfield, and they can bring it out to Aydeniz over this left-hand side. Once again, a foul, and it's another personal foul. A foul by Bashlashvili. And is this the 5th personal foul?
I think it is, you know, Pete. And of course, we all know what happens there. Georgia showed us exactly what happened last night. And Margalashvili was the victim of it yesterday. A 5th personal foul saw him have to leave the pitch. And this time around, it is Basilashvili who has given us some real thrills in this game. But now the spills are happening as well. And Georgi Basilashvili will have to leave the field of play. And that is being instructed by the officials on the far side to the on-field referees as well. I'm surprised it's taking this long for them to recognise that fact, but they do now go over to Georgi Basilashvili, who will be led off the field of play, and goodness knows what he's thinking right now.
Well, we were saying only a few seconds ago he was maybe fortunate not to receive another yellow card, but it didn't make a lot of difference on the game because he was stayed on for another 20 seconds or so before going off from them 5 personal fouls. So it's been a real mixture tournament so far for Georgi Basilashvili.
And of course, if they had a substitution, Pete, Georgia, they'd be able to replace him after 5 personal fouls. It's not an offence by the team, this, it's just by him. So they're only punishing him. However, because there are no substitutions, the whole team is being punished. Shot coming in there from Emre Okul on the right corner of the box, diverted over from Mandaria, punched with the fists out towards the far side, and it will be a corner to be taken by Okul. There are 2 balls on the pitch momentarily. There's a couple of kids in the crowd just throw the ball back, helpfully in a way, but slowing things down momentarily as we only need the 1 ball on the pitch. And now Satai will get the ball from the corner, plays it short for Uzum. He's got his back to goal, tight on the right hand side. There are 3 white shirts over there. Uzum then tries to wheel his way in towards the right corner of the box. It deflects off Margalashvili towards the right hand side, and Satai laterally running across the broken line from right to the left, and stops in the centre, moves back out to the right again, shoots right footed. A really good save from Mandaria. The first half was certainly the Hassan Satai show. It almost unfolded into that in the second period there as well. But Mandaria, with more or less a carbon copy of the save he had to pull out of the bag a few moments before, concedes another corner on the right-hand side, going across to take Emre Okul.
Yeah, full credit to the Georgian keeper. He's really kept the score down in this game. And it's going to be another corner from the right-hand side. Again played to Uzum, who's going to come towards the centre, misses his kick from 8 metres. University plays it towards Satai, who can't control, so it goes out for a goal kick to the Georgian team with only 4 people on the field. Long throw down is intercepted by Satai. Edge of the D, shot into the top left-hand corner. It's the 4th goal of the game for Hassan Satai. He's setting the pace in the top goal scorer in the European Blind Football Championships 2017. He's got 7 for the tournament, and it's 5 for Turkey in this game. They lead by 5 goals to 1.
Well, if Turkey do win the group and they win the championships as a whole, of course we're thinking a bit too far ahead at the moment, but he will be the man to thank back home in Istanbul, because he's been absolutely exceptional as Hassan Satai in this game. A 4th goal for him. We said the first half was the Hassan Satai show, perhaps overshadowed a bit by that marvellous bit of skill earlier from Basilashvili in the second half, but still nonetheless Satai just telling everyone, look, I'm still here. And what a goal that was. Georgia kicking things off then from left to right with 3 outfield players, and Margalashvili, just like last night, the one tasked to try and lead things on his own now at the opposite end of the field. He will be a bit lonesome as Satai now comes forward looking for another one. He collides back into the retreating Basilashvili, and also Pachiashvili back there as well, shall I say, as the throw is now made to the right-hand side. So 6 goals in this one, 6 minutes left. There's the time for a few more, Pete.
Yes, the problem that Georgia have, and the ball's on the right-hand side, the problem they have is the fact that Okul on that right has it inside their own third. Dragged back from the right. Now he's bearing on goal into the back of the net. It's another for Turkey, and Okul has his 2nd of the game. A lovely effort in off the left-hand post, and Turkey are hitting Georgia for 6. It's 6 goals to 1. The Turkish team lead, and I was just saying the problem that Georgia have is that they've got 1 player in midfield, and that's number 7, Margalashvili. The other 2 players are just going to stand on the edge of the D, and I'm getting a bit of deja vu here because it's similar to the game last night against Belgium, where the final few minutes could be all one way, and it's the whites of Turkey, all white strip streaming forward, attack after attack. And once again, the goalkeeper for Georgia just leaning on the post, one hand on his hip, and he's looking none too impressed because he knows what's coming for the next 6 minutes or so. It's going to be another attack by Turkey. Here comes Marglashvili, the only player really on the Georgian team who has any attacking intent. He loses out to Satay, who goes downfield, stops on the edge of the D, stops and then goes again to the right-hand side and buries it into the roof of the net. Lovely play there by Satay down the left-hand side, got into the D, was told by the coach behind just to stop where you are, move to the centre. He did in 3 movements and then buries it high into the roof of the net. It's his 5th goal of the game, Hassam Satay. He loves that effort into the roof of the net. He's making full advantage of these increased size goals in blind football. And they've increased the goal sizes to increase the amount of goals. And in this game, there's 7 for Turkey.
Of course, don't forget, if you are watching at home on the live stream, or of course listening as well on the radio stream as well, that we are going to be doing a goal of the tournament competition at the end of these championships. But at the moment, we may have to have a separate category just for Hassam Satay because he's got 8 goals, all of them absolute gems. There is a free kick conceded by Turkey, the second team foul of the second half, and going down clutching his face here is Bachana Margvelashvili, the captain. He's got back up, he's going to continue. A set piece opportunity then for the Georgians, just around a yard in front of the broken line, dead central. It's a 3-man Turkish wall. They've left Satay up at the other end of the field, of course wanting his double hat-trick in this game, but taking this will be the number 7, Margvelashvili. Just behind him at the moment is Petriashvili, and he doesn't want to hug. It's because he's going to roll the ball forward to Margvelashvili, so he's got a bit of momentum to dribble the ball towards the edge of the area. So Margvelashvili works his way towards the left, then tries to go towards the centre again, but he's outnumbered. Idenez quick to go to him, and he comes over halfway now, trying to charge down the centre. Gets past one player. Can he get to the edge of the area? The answer is yes. Can he finish it? The answer is no, but he manages to really clean out Irakli Mandaria there. A real bellow out from the goalkeeper of agony as he lays on his front on the ground. He's
shows you the composure that Hassam Satay has inside the D, and when another player gets into that position, they just outreach for the ball, they overrun the ball, they don't have the composure that the number 11 for Turkey has, and he's shown it plenty of times in this tournament where he puts a foot on the ball, moves it away out of his feet, and then can take a clean strike at goal. It's quite hard to hit when these footballs running at full pace. So he's got the tactic of stopping and then moving the ball into a position to strike. And the number 2 for Turkey is being taken off now for that yellow card. Idenez, he's more of a defender and he's not used to being in that position. So there is a substitution. Coming onto the field will be number 9, Bayraktar. So a Georgian free kick on the edge of their own D, and it's going to be number 7, Margvelashvili, to lead this 1-man attack. Goes past Hassam Satay on the halfway line, drifts into the centre, past Bayraktar, stops, tries to do it again. And he's got a lot of skill. It's just collision there with his ankles. It looks like his ankles actually banged together. And if anyone's done that at home, the 2 balls of your ankles banging together is very, very painful. He's on the ground. And we're waiting for the trainers to come on, and it's the coach from behind once again who's turned into a makeshift medic. And fingers crossed for Margvelashvili, because with over 5 minutes remaining, if he can't continue, then there's only going to be 2 players outfield for Georgia, and those 2, one of them is limping towards the action. So A, he's got an injury, and 2, they are both, with the best and greatest of respect, they are limited defenders. So again, very similar to Belgium versus Georgia last night. So Margvelashvili is continuing, but hobbling quite badly, and I think he's coming over to the near side kickboard, and he's going to possibly remain there for the rest of the game.
What a nightmare first international championships for Georgia. They've come to this they weren't expecting to really make too much progress in this competition. Ilya Kipashvili did joke that they're here to win the competition, but if they can make a game through with 5 players still on the pitch, I think that'd be enough of a success for them. That is not the case at the moment. Satai coming forward in the central position, drifting towards the right, shoot straight in the top corner. He didn't want 5 goals, make that number 6 instead. A super strike from Satai with the right foot into the top right corner of Irakli Mandaria's net. He almost took the net off its sandbag standings there as he struck it so sweetly with that right foot. 7 goals for Turkey, make it number 8.
Jonathan, one quick question. Have you got a spare pen? Because I've run out of ink because I've been writing so many goals down for Satai. That is his 6th goal of the game, make it 9 for the tournament. And I mentioned those top goal scorer charts, and for this 2017 tournament it could possibly be all over in this one game. And Hassam Satai, once again, he's going for more. Turkey have got 8, and here goes Satai towards the edge of the D. Stops again to a more central position. Good defence by the red of Georgia. Over to the right, and Okal's going himself from that right-hand side. Stops, turns, right-footed shot wide of the right-hand post. Good effort on goal by Okal. Goalkeeper just watched it go wide, and he's going to breathe a sigh of relief, but he's got 4.5 minutes to remain, and he's got little option now. He's going to throw the ball down towards the only player forward, Magrashvili, who is running very gingerly over to the near side. Picks the ball up though. He's got Bayraktar for company. He goes himself down.
Happening right on the blood patch from where that nasty nosebleed happened yesterday for Georgi Petriashvili. This time around, it's his fellow defender Bachuk Kazia who is on the ground. 3.5 minutes to go in this game. Can Georgia see this one out with enough players? Of course, when they have less than 3 players on the pitch in total, including the goalkeeper, then the game has to be called off. Turkey still wanting to play on and get some more goals, however. They lead by 8 goals to 1, and Georgia will have the ball back with their goalkeeper Irakli Mandari. Don't forget, he saved a penalty in the first half from Emre Aslan after 16 minutes. But unfortunately for him and the team, it's not really affected the scoreline by that much. The only difference is we'd be on double figures by now.
Timeout called by Turkey. So there might be a few substitutions rolled in this as well. So timeout called with 3 minutes and 14 seconds remaining of this game, and it's Turkey leading by 8 goals to 1. And, well, 6 of those goals scored by Hassam Satai, the number 11 for Turkey. Now, quite what's going to be mentioned on the Georgian bench, where the 3 outfield players look very despondent, and all 3 are hobbling very badly as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if another 2 or 3 goals are scored in this remaining 3 and a bit minutes. The referee's also having a conversation. Just a reminder of the games later on. At 5 o'clock local time here in Berlin, England against France. Fascinating clash in Group A. Both will be looking for 3 points to edge towards the semi-finals. That's at 5, and then at 7:30 local time, it will be Germany, a partisan crowd here in Berlin, taking on Romania, and they'll be expecting plenty of goals in that. Germany will start the favourites, but depending on what happens in that England game against France before, could be very intriguing. France have already beaten Germany in this competition. England started with a big win against Romania. If England do win, then it will be more pressure on the German side. Obviously they'll have the pressure of playing in front of a home crowd and the pressure of being the overwhelming favourites against Romania. But if England win, then even more pressure will be on the Germans to get 3 points. And that's all to come after this game is finished, and there's only a couple of minutes remaining. Here comes another Turkish attack down the right-hand side with Okal. Over to the left end, Hassam Satai. Can he stop it from going out of play? No, he can't. Out for a goalkeeping restart for the Georgian side. although it looks like it just came off the toe actually of a Georgian defender. There's two referees on the field, and if one doesn't see an incident, then the other one can override the decision and say, I saw it just came off a boot of the Georgian side. So a corner to Turkey on the left. It's going to be Satay to take it. Goes in a banana motion around to a more central position. Strike on goal, hits the knee of a defender. He's slightly off balance, is Hassan Satay, and it can break for Marglashvili downfield. This could be a one-on-one chance for Marglashvili, and he scores! What a goal by Marglashvili for Georgia. He deserves that. He's been in the wars, he's got a yellow card, and Georgia scored their second goal of the game, and the crowd here in Berlin all stand and rise to their feet and applaud this German team. Marglashvili for Georgia. Fabulous goal. Even though they're going to lose the game heavily, he's been in the wars, but he managed to get on score sheets as well.
I'm really happy for him, Pete, because he's had a tough few games up front on his own most of the time for Georgia, bursting his way through there towards the goal. And to be able to beat Uzum, the Turkish captain, for strength as well as pace is no mean feat, and he manages to just tuck it into the bottom right corner of Irakli Mandaria's net. So the score now 8-2. Very high scoring game indeed, 10 goals in total, the highest scoring game ever, 12 goals in a game. Will this be beaten? We'll have to wait and find out. That's not just in the European Championships, that is in total as well. We'll have to scroll through the record books to find out if this is the biggest win ever in the European Championships, but the biggest amount of goals ever in football collisions now. And Marglashvili's clattered into the board, and he probably just thinks, forget it, I've got a few minutes left, I might as well carry on. Here he is on the ball now, right in the centre. That fighting spirit still there for Georgia, despite the fact they've got a 6-goal deficit here. Satay tussling with Marglashvili, who's been forced back towards his own defensive third before getting it down the line towards halfway. He does concede possession, however, as the ball is now with Bayraktar. Darting into a central position. Nice close control from him as he slowly makes his way towards the right-hand side, gets towards the byline. He shoots straight at the legs of the goalkeeper, Irakli Mandari, who ends up sitting on the ball as it almost tries squirming through his legs. He then bowls it away to no one in particular, because all three players on his team are in his half. The sun back out then here in Berlin, and the sun is shining on Turkey. 8-2 up. But this man Marglashvili does have a goal to his name, the Georgian captain. Can he get another one? Of course, he got 6 in qualification for Georgia back in Ukraine, in Romania in April. He's now charging forward for another one in this match. He's got his back to goal outside the right corner of the area. Uzum this time comes out on top, the Turkish captain. He's got a bit of room in front of him as well. He's been instructed that too by John Ball and co on the far side. A good ball, accurate one as well to the left-hand side. And Satay tries to worm his way into the left side of the area. The last touch came off Petriashvili, and it will be a corner for Turkey as we go into the final minute of this game. Going across to take it, Hassan Satay's got 6 goals in this game alone, 9 in total. And going there alongside him as well appears to be on that near side. It's difficult to tell. I think it's Idedzi. We'll have to wait for confirmation of that. Indeed, it's actually Okul, the number 7 instead. Comes into a central position, just clatters into the Georgian wall in front of him, who are still standing firm despite the fact there's only 3 of them at the moment perched on the edge of their own penalty area. The ball goes back into the Turkish half on the left-hand side by Bayraktar, trying to drift into a central position, then plays the ball out wide again for Okal. It's a shot coming in from Satay, straight at the goalkeeper, comes back for him, real opportunity, finds the net. A 9th goal for Turkey and a 7th goal of the game for Hassan Satay, who did not let that one up at all as he came into the left side of the area. A nice little touch there to dummy it away from the Georgian defender. He persevered, did Satay, got an initial shot away that was saved. It came back to him, and then he fired it into the top left corner of the net of Irakli Mandaria. It's 7 goals in one game for Hassan Satay. 9 goals in total for Turkey. They lead by 9 goals to 2. Georgia taking the kick-off now in the centre, and the despondent faces of Vachana Marglashvili And Georgi Petriashvili stand over the ball. The ball is now with Marglashvili coming down the right-hand side. It just goes too far for him, though, and out of play for a Turkish ball. Doruk Erkman will throw it down the left-hand side into the final 30 seconds. It's Satay on the left. Can he get an 8th one? Surely not. Comes into a central position, stops the ball again. He worms his way into the area, and the shot is saved by the hands of Mandaria. He's seen 9 balls fly past him today. This one stays in his hands and in front of him. It's, well, what warriors, eh? What warriors, these defenders for Georgia. Okul on the right-hand side. Looks for Satay. They're wanting Satay to get another. He won't have the time to do so, however. The referee puts his whistle to his lips and more or less signals to Satay, I'm sorry, mate, but you're going to have to settle for just the 7 goals. Turkey reigning supreme then with a 7-goal win as well, winning by 9 goals to Georgia's 2. Georgia put up a very stern fight. They did not want to go down without a battle right to the last. Unfortunately, they once again had to end the game with a player less due to the fact that Georgi Bashliashvili was withdrawn because of a 5th personal foul. It was already a yellow card anyway, but the 7 goals from Hasan Satay will really be the main story of this match. Turkey did miss a penalty in the first half. It could have been even worse for Georgia had it not been for Mandaria denying Emre Aslan from the 6-metre spot. Emre Okul also got a brace in this game, which cannot be forgotten, and Georgi Bashliashvili got a goal from the penalty spot in the first half. And his bit of mesmerising skill that no doubt we will see time and time again with Alan and Pete in the studio after the game, with that lovely bit of skill, how he flicked it over his head and over the oncoming defender as well. So a successful day for Turkey. They will top their group. As for Georgia, I think they're straight off to the doctors. After that one, it's finished Turkey 9, Georgia 2.
Call a medic indeed. You might want to check the goalkeeper's hands. 40 shots from Turkey in that game alone. 20 for Georgia themselves, which pretty much tells you they were still in the contest despite the goals tumbling in against them. 9-2 beat Selby, and well done to Hasan Satay. 7 heaven for him. 7 goals in a singular game. It already takes him to 10 for the tournament. If he was looking for the golden boot, he's already starting to clean it.
Amazing, really. Satay, we mentioned the fact that he stands on the edge of the goalkeeping square, and if they employ that tactic of throwing the ball down to him from a goalkeeping restart, then it could cause a lot of problems for Georgia, and it did. What a good day to do it as well. The Turkish ambassador for Germany, he's actually on the pitch. He's here watching the team, so what a good day to get yourself 7 goals in front of the Turkish ambassador, and he's having a chat via translator with the coach, John Ball, who, when I spoke to him, I asked him how much Turkish he spoke, and he said not a great deal. But he's got a good team around him. He's got a superb striker in Hasan Satay as well. Let's take a look at some of the goals from this afternoon's game. Yeah, Hasan Satay, he didn't open the scoring. It's a lovely goal by Okal, who managed to get a couple for himself, but in off the post. And again, another feature of the Turkish team. Lovely little drag back, again, stop, drag back, goes again, central position, and then you can make your choice. Do you go high and straight, or do you go low and to the left or right?
Yeah, of course, running towards the centre of the goal gives them a good target to aim for, with the keeper right in the middle. That footwork is tremendous.
Yeah, Hasan Satay generally tries to employ the tactic of dragging the ball back, central position, and then goes high into the roof of the net. And at least 4 of his 7 were done that way. Here he goes again, this time running from slightly deeper, picking the ball up, and then shooting from distance, again high into the top corner. You just can't save that if you're in goal. Again, Satay, this time picking up from nearer the halfway line than the broken line, shooting from distance, and that's just the same goal over and over again. And the problem that Georgia had is because they only had 3 outfield players at that time. The one player who was furthest forward was Marglashvili. He was the only person that the goalkeeper could throw the ball to. He actually ended up scoring a really good second goal for his side when the tie was out of reach. But Hasan Satay just helping himself to plenty of chances, and many of them finding the back of the net.
This is just such a sweet strike. It leaves his boot, and the goalkeeper, well, he cannot move. At 8-1, this was tremendous. Good show of strength and Georgia get them second goal of the game to make it 10 in the game.
Yeah, Margalashvili, a really good player. Now, just before that, he managed to hurt himself by colliding two of his ankles together. The balls of his ankles actually colliding. Everyone has done that at home. It really does hurt, and I was amazed he actually got back to his feet, and only moments later ended up scoring a goal for Georgia to put a bit of a smile on their faces, but only momentarily, because it wasn't long until Turkey went down the other end of the field and scored another.
So Satay throws down the challenge to players like Iyobo and Martin, who got themselves 4 goals so far, and plenty of others will fancy winning the Golden Boot. That was the final goal of the game. Well, just as you come back to see us, we're going to talk very quickly about the effort that Georgia put in. Not just the effort. Take a look at this replay. The skill levels involved in this, in any form of football, is fantastic. Just check this out. If you're only just joining us in the last few minutes, you might have missed this. This is simply superb.
Yeah, Georgi Balashvili, who is back in the team after being suspended after 2 yellow cards in his first game. He actually got 2 yellow cards in this game, but look at that, an over-the-head flick from behind himself, and then he beats one man, and the last man brings him down when he was bearing in on goal, and if this went into the back of the net, it would have been pretty much the goal of the tournament. I think we could have wrote off that competition, but a last-ditch tackle, and it was a foul, and he was lucky actually to stay on the field for that.
If that goes in the back of the net, by the way, the goal of the tournament competition, it's over.
All over on day 4, but there's been some cracking goals, not just scored in this game, but overall, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the final, say, 10 goals in our goal of the tournament competition later on this week.
Okay, quickly we'll look at the league table before we leave you then. This is how that makes the league table look. Turkey have played their 3 so far, 1 remaining for them. They've got 6 points on the board. Spain and Russia with 4, but a game in hand. Belgium with 3, also with a game in hand, could level themselves up against Turkey with a victory in their next game, Belgium. That'll be interesting for them. Georgia without a point, a -20 goal difference as well. That brings us to the end of our first half of coverage here on day number 4 of the IBSA Blind Football European Championship. This is what's coming up when you come back. A big one here on day 4. England versus France. It's a 5 o'clock kickoff, around about an hour and a half away. We'll be with you at 4:40, live on air, wherever it is you're watching from. But for now, goodbye.